All right, guys. We should be live. Let me just double check that we actually are because I don't want to talk and have one of those mistakes where I'm not live. Yes, we are. And we are on into the Splinterverse. We have Tails and Dave McCoy here from the Splinterlands team to talk over with us this kind of question on, is the new conflict system really fair, or is it a little too top end heavy for the top people? And there's a lot of reasons why players like me, players like Ghostly BG, and some of the other guys who are big buyers, we've been putting lots of money into the sets, but we don't feel like the conflict system was properly adjusted to not really hurt us, force us to basically give more money to people who are being asked to invest less into the game. And that can be a little frustrating in the conflict system. So one of the main points that Ghostly pointed out here, and I did give this to Dave ahead of time, so we're not completely sandbagging him here, is that some of these top players who are getting hundreds of cards or much, much more than a max level card don't even have to have very many wagons. So they don't even have to make an investment into the resources, into maybe the one thing that's good for the community. They don't have to do. They don't have to buy any. And then they'll have to repair less than somebody that gets far less cards. To boot, I talked to one of the players here who's getting 39 cards. He won't even stake cards that cost less than 5,000 because of the cost of the repair. So a player like me, who's literally staking cards that are only giving me 1,000 CP because I'm trying to fully embrace the system. I have 40 wagons now. I have cards all the way down to 1,000 CP staked. I'm trying to do, I have a max set. I've put about $8,000 into each set total, $16,000 total. And I go and I look at my airdrop. These guys are getting anywhere from 121 to over 3 max copies, and I get 4 cards. And this is something that's been ongoing that I've been seeing in Modern that's causing me to go, I think I'm just done with Modern in this game. It's a constant, give us a little bit more, give us a little bit more. And it's not even always going to you guys. This time it's actually going to the guys getting hundreds of cards, mostly. But the way that things are set up are so that the players who are trying to do their best to have max level sets, to complete at the highest part of the game, stream the game, be content creators for the game, but not maybe be the mega whales who are investing $20, $30, $40,000 per set, are buying all the black foils. But we're constantly being asked, just fork out a little bit more money to stay competitive in this system. It's not, hey, we released a set of cards, buy the set of cards, you'll get a good amount of the airdrops. With a little bit of luck, maybe you'll come out even. All of a sudden, there's the we did the last set where they did the vote, and we released those 6 cards that were very, very powerful. They were pretty expensive. You had to go buy those. And now I totally expect those to be coming again because they did work pretty well for the team. I bought them. Mostly, I ran out of money by the last couple and had to skip them, and I didn't go for Eloise because she was just out of my budget. But, you can see how Modern has had a trend of constantly saying, you're going to have to give us a little bit more money if you want to stay at that top tier of the game. You're just going to have to do it. You're not just going to do it at launch. You're going to do it here. Then we're going to release special promo cards. Then we're going to release... And some of that is good. Some of it is good to have us have more options, new cards, meta changes, things that keep the game a little bit fresh. But when each one of those things cost a pretty substantial amount of money, if you want to do it at the top, it wears you down, mostly because, and I know this isn't something the team can totally control, but my rewards for doing this are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. None of this extra money, none of this extra push has fixed the problem that SPS is pretty much just going down, except for when it pumps when a new set comes out. Just a little bit. It doesn't like 3, 4, 5x pump where a big bad holder could collect. It goes up maybe 40%, maybe one double if you bought some at the exact bottom. Um, and so it's just hard to justify being a modern player at this point. I can't tell other people I think they should do this. I can't even want to do this anymore. And so my current plan is to cancel this staking, sell all of these cards because I think they're kind of in demand, buy some old cards, really get all 200 of my lands working. And I'm just telling you guys, you're turning me from an investor to basically just becoming an extractor. I'm going to work my 200 lands, and I'm basically just going to sell resources or craft items and sell them. And I'm just going to be taking from the game now. I'll still be interacting with the game. It's not the worst person to be in the game because I'll be interacting with the liquidity pools. I'll be earning, like helping some people earn some fees in those. I'll be in the ecosystem, and then I'll play Wild because I have a ton of Chaos Legion cards, and there's not really much else to do with those but play Wild. And I'll bot it most of the time too. But it's going to make me really disengage from everything new in the ecosystem because it's gotten to the point where it's like the statements that I remember Matt making and hearing by the team was buy what you need to play the game, and that should be enough. But it's clearly just not enough because if I have a max Rebellion set, I have a max this new set Conclave, and I stake all of those cards. And you're telling me for the first airdrop I get 4, which means for the next airdrop I'll probably get 3, and then by the end of this I only get 2. You're telling me that if I want to stay competitive, I have to be willing to buy 8 to 10 of these cards. Well, 8 to 9, 10 maybe. I don't know where I'll be at the last airdrop if I as this keeps getting harder to do. And that's like a little bit of a bitter pill to have to take, to just be told like, hey, if you want to stay competitive, especially because we know the airdrop cards are going to be the legendary summoners. They're going to be some of the most expensive cards in the game, the most important ones that I don't want to have to buy 8 copies of. I wanted to get them in this conflict system. I thought I would. I got close to that in Rebellion. And these new cards have come out and they are just so rewarding. I mean, this one rare card that I have staked here, 57,000 power. It has more than a wagon that has 5 legendary cards on it, and it's a rare, and it's one card. It literally has double. It cancels out these 2 wagons of max legendary cards, and I just feel like this was designed kind of poorly, Dave. I'm not just gonna say it's giving too much to the top. It's hurting the little guys too much. It's letting them skirt the system without having to buy as many wagons, not having to repair as many of the wagons. It's asking us to take all that financial burden of the wagon repair, of the extra purchase of cards, and then in the end of the day, none of it is even going to help SPS. Because none of it is designed to flow back into SPS. A cool part, I won't lie, is some of it is designed to give money to the players. The problem is I could just go name those 10 players, right? It's Brave Tofu, Cryptomancer, Vuctus, Cursin. I don't know if Matt's going to sell his cards, but Matt, Murden, I mean, these are the real winners of this system. And I don't think that the airdrop system should be designed that way, so that like 10 guys get 50 cards and a few more get 40 cards, and then your guys that did put like $8,000 into your game, we get 4 cards.
Do you want me to comment, or where do you?
Yeah, I'm done now. I'm done now.
You threw a whole bunch of stuff out there, Steve. So being able to respond. I mean, there's many points, so I don't want to hog the conversation. So, if you want to touch on the big topics or all topics, like I'm happy to talk about each and everything. But there's
we can start.
You probably had 25 different issues there. So
yeah. Yeah, and I just wanted to just point out, just the whole story. This isn't a pure, hey, the conflicts are bad. I'm leaving modern. It's a little bit more than that. It's just going, man. We're being asked to just keep on spending more and more and more and more money to be a modern player, and the rewards don't justify it. Now, I do understand there's some speculation at play here. That's a big part of it. Will the game catch on? Will SPS go up 2, 3, 4, 5x? Um,
Can I
but
start there?
yeah,
Because that's kind of like I've said this before, and it's true whether people like. I mean, it's true. So it's a fact. If we don't get new players, we're gonna die. If we do get new players, we're set up to succeed. So whether we get new players or not is going to be what makes a difference, right? If we don't get new players, like you're right, SPS will keep going down, all the other assets will go down. Your investment in, whatever, black foils, regular foils, gold foils, modern deck, wild deck, everything goes down, right? So if we continue to try to sell to the existing set of players more and more things, we're going to fail. And you know, in order to break that, we have to change the way in which we're doing things. And there's been a lot of things that have happened to do that. I don't want to waste the show. Like, in other words, when people are negative, what you don't want to do is go in and say, "Hey, look at all these great things," right? Like, I'm not here to point out all the positives that we're doing, but could be another show, and I'm happy to do that. So just letting you know. So in other words, there's a lot of things that we have done that are positive that should give people hope. And obviously, when it comes through, then people will see it. And now, all of a sudden, SPS won't be 7/10 of a cent. It could be 7 cents or 10 cents or 75 cents, whatever. Like, pick your number. Until we get there, right? Like, it's still going to come down to do we have more players or not? So, what's happening is everybody's fighting over like a declining pie, right? And the reason that happens is if we don't have new players, then, like things shuffle, right? Like, so you mentioned transition of land, like the wagon cost, right? I mean, is the team getting any of that money? Absolutely not. Not one penny, right? So what's happening is value from those cards, those airdrops, is essentially going to the people in land that make those, right? So you have enough wood, stone, iron, grain, whatever to make it. You make your aura, and then you make those wagons, and you can sell them for $5 to somebody like me who's bought 40 of them, right? Because I also need wagons. I'm on your list there, the Bad Witch at 5 million. So I've had to go out. I bought 40 wagons, but just so you know, I also have about 300 more. So what you guys are worried about is not the case with me. Now, having said that, when you transition from one thing to another, there's always somebody who's going to make, like you said, you're going to become an extractor. So what that really means is you will be risk averse and you will only take the, essentially the free money, right? So it's like in the brokerage business or in the financial world, that's like, you buy and you scalp something for, a nickel, right? And it's just, you do that 1,000 times a day, right? You're never investing. You're never like taking a chance, right? You're not going for the home run. You're not trying to find the next Apple. You're literally just saying, hey, I'm going to take that opportunity to make 50 bucks and hopefully do that 100 times a day. And all of a sudden you got a nice living, right? So, whenever you have a situation like that, if then those people take out. So whether they leave or not, they're taking out of the system, right? The only way that that gets fixed is to create an environment where more people want to join and put their money into the system, right? And Why would they do that? Right. Well, they would only do that because they think other people will want to do that. Right. Like you wouldn't want to buy into something that nobody cared about, right? But if enough people care about it, then you're like, oh, okay, I could see how this could be a thing. I mean, Splinter has been around 7 years. Will they be around another 7 years? I mean, that's a reasonable, thought. Like maybe we will make it 7 more years, and if we do, at some point we become like the Magic the Gathering type company that's been around in this space for a long time and solid. So we have some things to build on, but of course we have to execute. And that's actually my job, right? So, like a lot of times, we've had a lot of doubters, right? Like when it comes to Andrew, I think one of the guys I think quit the other day because he asked, are we still tied to not corrupt media or whatever they were called? And I was like, no, and we're not. And I think in his mind, like, okay, well, that means there's no marketing. And I've had like that conclusion drawn, right? That means there's no marketing. Well, either you guys think either he thinks that I'm stupid, right? Or he just wants to think the way he wants to think. So hopefully he doesn't think I'm stupid. So hopefully he just, like, well, okay, well, if it's not Andrew, then it ain't going to work. Well, turns out Andrew wasn't going to make it work. So I made sure that I did what my job is to make sure that if we're going to spend money, we're going to spend money and it's going to have an impact. We're not going to spend money, have it go to waste, and then come back and say, oops, sorry, it didn't work. Right. So, you know, whether somebody understands that or not, that's still my job. Right. So, make a long story short, the price of things going down, right, is a natural outcome of lack of new players. So it's not any of these particular issues, right? It's not like whether we did black foils versus regular foils versus gold foils, or, like there's nothing majorly broken. I will say that even the rewards, the reason why we had to stop the rewards, like you made a point that we don't get good enough rewards, right? Like we've taken the rewards down and down and down, which we have, right? I mean, I'm a player. I see it too, right? And we had to do that because at one time we over gave out rewards. We diluted the value of everything we have. And in the binary system that we've operated in, which is if it's not good one way, then let's do the opposite, right? That's the binary choice. What happened was we swing from giving out all kinds of rewards that then devalued everything to giving out no rewards or no tradable rewards, I guess I should say. And then that has the impact of what you're saying. So I'm very aware of these things. I'm focused on them. I just can't snap my fingers and make stuff happen. So if, Steve, if you were like, hey, I'm giving up, I mean, would I blame you? No, I'm not going to blame anybody, right? Like, obviously, I mean, you've been here, you stream about Splinterlands, you've cared about Splinterlands, you feel upset enough to write posts about it and talk about it. Of course, like I feel like we've let you down, right? Like, I don't look at it like, what an ass, right? Like he's on there, tearing down the game. But I will say that I'm working as fast as I possibly can to fix the things that need to be fixed. And there's a lot of things that have been fixed. So, like I said, there's probably 25 different topics. I don't even know
Yeah,
where to
yeah,
start.
but see, here's something where I think you guys have made a mistake and you've made it worse. The airdrops were not like this the first time around. You did not have top guys getting 121, 100 cards, 98 cards, and you did not have max set players getting 3 cards. I
Yeah,
was a
well,
regular max set player last time in Rebellion. I bought a few extra gold foil maxed cards, and my first airdrop I started with 8. That seemed reasonably fair because 8 means with a little luck I could get 11. I could get 1 gold. It was an acceptable number to the investment that we put into the game. Now you put the same investment into the game, you end up in the same place with a pretty much a max set, maybe with one one or two black foils if you had a little bit of luck there. I got three. So it's not like I have none. I also have some gold foil cards, including legendaries. So I'm not staking straight, just regular foil cards. I have a little bit of the extra sauce that was put into the new system, but they expect now I get four cards. So
Yeah.
I did the same thing, but your system dramatically changed to where I get half the rewards I got last time. And even with a little bit of luck, I'm going to get nowhere near a max level card. So you put me in the situation where me as a player, this means the airdrops aren't financially helpful for me. If I want to be a competitive player, they're financially hurtful because it's not, yay, I got four free cards. It's, ugh, I need to go buy seven more.
Okay. So I get it. I understand that argument. And just so you know, I've heard pretty much every argument a lot here in the last few days. Um, One, I want to get off the table because, like, there was a comment made and Ghostly put it in his post, and he showed me in Discord that, we rigged it so that something to the effect that the rich get a tax break and the poor get taxed further, right? And he was,
That was on the waggings that he
right.
was
So
referring
I
to.
want to
Yes.
I want to clear that up first. The purpose the original intent was that if you lost a card, you needed a wagon, right? It took a wagon, right? So if you got 50 cards, you had 50 wagons. If you got 70 cards, you got 70 wagons. If you had three cards, you got three wagons. When the coding came up, the discussion wasn't like, hey, how can we give Vuctus more cards for less investment? Like that wasn't the discussion. The discussion was what happens if a guy has two wagons with 10 cards on it and wins three or four cards? What are we going to do? Right? Because we're all thinking like, how likely is it to happen? And the answer was probably not likely, but if it did happen, we don't want to tell that guy, oh, you won four cards, but you only had two wagons, so we're gonna not let you have those other two, right? So we thought that was who was going to be a problem. Like I said, I've got hundreds of wagons, right? So I'm not thinking like, how can we? In other words, I'm thinking I win a card, I'm going to lose a wagon, right? Like that was the idea that Matt had. What was you win a card, let's say it's a $15 card and it's a $5 cost to do the wagon, you're net $10 ahead. I mean, that's literally what his thinking was. So in the design of in the implementation phase, they came up and said, "Oh, this is going to be kind of hard to code. We could code it, might take a little bit longer, or we could, and there was various options. We could give them a negative, right? Like, we could say you won five cards, you only have three wagons, you're minus two. So until you buy two, you don't get anything extra, right? Like, you could carry a negative, which that didn't seem to be a very good way of doing things. So again, we put that system in. Having said that, the original goal was the goal that if you won a card, you lost a wagon. So I've already gone back. We thought that way. I honestly didn't even think that was going to be an issue until Ghostly posted it today. Evidently, evidently it was assumed that we did it negatively, which was not the case. I've already gone back, got a list of how many people are in that position. Like if it was one guy, then maybe I'm like, all right, no big deal. But as it turns out, yep, there's quite a few guys that have essentially min-maxed the thing, right? So they get whatever, you know, 20, 20 guaranteed airdrops with 50, with 12 wagons or something like that, right? So they've got definitely extra ones without having to pay the cost that everybody else has to pay that's normal. So obviously, I'm not going to change anything for the very first one because it's already been told, this is what we're going to do. But I've already got a message into Matt. I've already discussed it with the people on, in the dev department, like, to get the information. And I'm going to push to make it happen the way it should be happening. So it's more of a coding issue and an interpretation of what would happen than anything like nefarious. Like, why would we want to just give Vuctus extra, or Zircon or anybody else? I mean, the intent was if you won a card, you lost a wagon, which is basically a $5 tax, as you guys have appropriately said, right? So it's been called a tax. I understand it. I'm not running from that, but the point is, yes, the goal was never to give the rich a tax break and then let the poor, have the tax. So I just want to take that off the table because that wasn't intentional. In fact, the goal behind it was to help the little guy who got lucky, right? Not the big guy that, decided, hey, how can I min max, everything. So I want to take that off the table. The other part of it, so do you understand that?
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's good to hear that you guys had thought about that in the past, and that you do plan to fix that. So at least if you get 100 cards, you have to repair 100 wagons, because that is unfair to the other players in the system. That people were getting more cards than wagons they had. Um, I think, and the other part I really want to understand is the thinking here in just giving these cards so much power in this airdrop to where you're gonna have players pull. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys think it's a win that two players are getting over 100 cards, I can tell you that the rest of the community see that as a disgusting loss.
Well, I mean,
That
isn't that
somebody
what
can
happened
get
last?
that many cards.
Okay. All right. So regarding here's what is happening. Like you said, you look at it as a loss instead of a win. Like you get 4 cards, you're saying, "Oh shit, I got to go buy 7 more." As opposed, so you would rather actually have no cards, right? Like you would have the team give nothing, right? That way you don't have to go compete.
No,
Did I?
no. What I would rather have is the game. Either this needs to not be said anymore, and just admitted to that you guys expect players to buy more than they need, or if we buy what we need to get close to what we would need to have a max. The idea here is if you buy a max set of cards, if you're running with enough CP that would equal a max set of fully leveled up cards, that you're going to come out pretty close in the airdrops to getting a max level card. That you're not going to be expected to have to go and buy 8 to 9 to 10 cards more. And that if you're running a max gold set, you're going to get pretty close to a gold copy. Maybe not a guaranteed gold copy, but close enough guaranteed that sometimes when you're lucky, you'll get one, and sometimes you won't. Not literally right now. Bronze level players won't get a guarantee. Silvers won't get a guarantee most of the time. Gold people will get like one, and a regular max diamond player gets 3 to 4, depending on if they have a couple black foils. That's what the system is currently doing to us because of how many points you've shot into these black foils that the top level accounts have decided to go and get, so that they get more of these 3,000 cards.
But okay.
They've carved them out to themselves by chasing these higher value cards, and that maybe there's some reward to that, but you've set it up at such a high bonus that it's pretty much destroyed your regular players.
Yeah,
You've
but
absolutely just gutted what we used to get in this system.
all right, Steve. Let me try to. Uh, I think part of the reason there. Let me first say that I think the communication of what people expected could have been better, and that's my fault. So I'll take that, right? Like I did not anticipate that so many people didn't understand how this worked, right? So having said that, that's my fault, right? Like it's pretty simple how it works, and evidently, like I just assumed that everybody understood, but or not everybody, but I figured most people would understand, and certainly when they were told,
We
I thought they
people did
would.
not. I can
I
even
know,
say
I
that
know.
when Bajangles did his show, and in their mind they theorized what black foils would do to Conclave. Do you know what every person on the show did? And these are bigger people in our ecosystem. No way the team will do that. That's so short-sighted. It'll ruin conflicts. And
All right.
then
So,
you did it.
right. Well, that's my point. So, from a messaging standpoint, like I said, I'll take the blame for that. So I can tell you how the formula works, right? And then we can discuss the implications. But the formula works pretty simple. You buy cards, right? You buy either single cards or you buy packs. They all have collection power. So if you buy them off the market, then you're making a choice to buy the ones that you want to buy, right? You can buy the regular foil, gold foil, or black foil. So if you have a lot of money, you might buy the black foil. If you have less money and you want just to play the game, you get the regular foil. But at the end of the day, all that adds up to a certain total, whatever that total is. So whether it's 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion, it's what it is, right? Like, I hate the term, but it said it's just math, right? Like that's a response that somebody would say, right? It's just math. I don't like the term because it's kind of callous, but in reality, that's the case. So what it really is saying is there's two things to consider. One, how many in the formula as it exists right now. One, how many cards are you going to give out? And then two, how much collection power is totally issued. And then whatever your percentage of the total amount of collection power that's been issued is, that's how much percentage of those 3,000 cards was the estimate. It turned out to be 3,600, but the estimate was 3,000. So for instance, if you had 10% of all the cards, right, you went out and bought 10% of all the packs, whether it's black foil, gold foil, regular foil, they would have all been like you would have still owned 10%. You would have invested 10% of the total into the set, which would mean you get 300 cards, right?
But
10% of 3,000.
but
That's
that's
just
only if you didn't open the packs, right?
no, no, no. I'm
Yeah, because
saying
no, because if I open them and I don't get black foils because I don't get lucky, my
yes,
CP is gonna be lower.
correct. But that's a RNG, somebody that did get a black foil, he comes out ahead. I mean, that's part of that process. But I will say this. I think that different people play the game different ways, right? Like there's people that are out buying the black foil packs. I mean, not the black foil packs, the regular packs, probably alchemy packs. And all they're doing is they're opening them, hoping to get a black foil, turn around, selling everything they got in there, and basically just flipping, call them pack flippers, right? And that's how they play the game. What you described, and I've had conversations with a lot of, I guess I would call them gamers, right? Who look at it completely different. And the way you look at the game is you just want to be competitive. You want to be at the top. You don't want to, you know, you don't want to have a missing spot in your deck, right? Like if I don't have a Nidhogger in my deck, that's okay. Like I don't really care. I don't need to
Yeah,
have
but
Nidhogger.
in general, you're talking about the legendary airdrop summoners from the set. There's no way that at least 3 or 4 or 5 of those aren't going to end up as meta plays. Yeah, you could have a Nidhogger who doesn't get played, but you are talking about probably 4 to 5 of the most important cards that are going to be in the game for modern.
All right, let me say it a different way because I guess I picked the wrong card to use an example. So if it's an Eternal Tofu, right? Like if I don't have an Eternal Tofu, which I didn't, by the way, I have in my gold foil deck. My scholar that plays my tournaments does not have a gold foil Tofu. Does he suffer as a result? Yes. Am I gonna go buy one? No. Right? Like I'm just not. So when you guys play against my deck in the tournaments, Dave didn't have the money to go out and buy the gold foil Tofu, and he wasn't lucky in the airdrop last time to get one. Right? So is that unfair? I mean, the answer would be no, because, did I buy a lot of packs last year? Yeah, I bought 20 grand worth, right? But I got no gold foil tofus, right? And so I didn't. Now, could I have gone and bought it?
But
Yes.
you
Could I have
got
traded?
tofus, right?
I got the regular foil tofus, but I
Okay.
mean,
Look,
that's
see,
my
because
point.
see, here's the thing: you're pushing it to that extreme, right? I'm not asking for gold foil cards. I'm saying that a player that invests somewhere between $7,000 to $8,000 into your game to get a competitive deck, stakes all of those cards, and gets a very uncompetitive amount of cards is not going to look at this as a system that works or that is fair or that is properly designed. And
Yeah,
then when
but
they lurk into it deeper, they're going to go, well, I got three cards. What are other players getting? Oh, there's some players that got 100, 130, 90, 80. I mean, you only need 11 to get a max level card. Why are they giving one player 120 cards,
I
90 cards?
you can't ask me multiple questions, but I mean, if you do, it's just going to take me longer to answer them. But uh, we'll come back to the why does why does the guy that bought, whatever, 10% of the set get 10% of the cards? That's a different question. But the part that, the other part that you said is, why can't we just have a regular foil set? Because if you spent, let's say you spent, I've seen, the one guy said 11 grand, right? So I went and I looked, right? And 11 grand, he bought it in deck, right? In other words, it was 11,000 worth of deck. Deck's at like 90%. So it's 10 grand in US dollars, right? I went and looked at that deck. He had terrible luck. It was worth 9,500, right? So he's down 500 bucks, no doubt about it, right? He spent 10 grand, all his stuff put together. He didn't get a lot of gold. He didn't get a lot of black foils. He only got one, right? And not counting what he's made in SPS or any of that stuff. I'm just saying, let's assume it's nothing. He lost 500 bucks. Now, he can't get, let's say, like he claimed he can only get three airdrops, even though he could get five. But the reason why he doesn't want five is because he doesn't want the wagons. Understood, right? Like some people like, hey, I don't even care about getting the card if it's, if I got to pay $5 for it. Because if it's an $8 card, it's like, why bother spending five to get an $8 card, right? The tax, right? So you can, number one, you can flip that around and say, well, if that's the case, then what's anybody worried about? Because he's got $9,500 worth of value. He could sell something in there, some gold foil, some black foil, some something to buy the 11 $8 cards he needs, which is $88, right? In other words, it's one total sum of money
Your
that you
values are
put
a little
together.
low there, Dave. I mean, even competitive legendary cards are 12, $13. These are going to be summoners. The only legendary summoner is a 1350 card, and he's the 5 drop. If these are going to be the more premium cards, they're going to be $20, $30 cards when they come out.
Right. Okay, so let's go to that, right? So let's say it's $30. You said it, so I'm going to go with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
Okay,
fair.
so you get a $30 card, right? You got to pay a $5 tax. How much are you out? What's your net loss?
No, no, but that's him in particular. He's making that choice. I think that choice is wrong. He should pay the $5 to get a $30 card. He
Okay,
should.
so I'm
My
just
point
saying
is,
I want to take that off the table then. All right. So
yeah,
y-
that's not what the point is. The point is, I paid $25 to get five more wagons, so I could stake both of my full sets all the way down to 1,000 cards. I'm willing to go farther than the guys that have big cards. I talked to the guy. He said he won't stake a card with 5,000 CP or less.
I go
Five
down to
thousand is
five.
where he stops.
Yeah, I went to five. Just so you know,
Yeah,
I went all the way to
yeah,
five.
and I might go a little bit further if I thought it would increase my chances, but I've done the math on it and it won't with what I have unstaked. I'd have to go to the market and buy more cards. Now, yes, I could do that. I could do what all the haters on me are doing right now. Go buy more. But I don't need more to play the game. I would only
But
need more to get the airdrops. I have everything I need to play the game. I've already bought it.
yeah, but my point to you, Steve, is, and again, I hope everybody understands. I'm not upset with you, right? I mean, I respect you. So just because we can disagree on this doesn't mean in any way I'm upset or a hater or whatever the other people are. But you have extras of stuff, right? I mean, can you trade? Can you sell one thing to buy another thing? I mean, if you really need a card, like if it's a tofu type card, I mean, is it the end of the world that you have to let go of, let's say, the black foil to get it? I mean, if the black foils are a high percentage of the set, like I think my
No,
point would
no,
be
no.
like
The point
in
is,
that example is if the guy put in $10,000 and it's worth 9,500, right? Like, and he had bad luck. There's a guy that put in 10,000 and it's got $12,000 of value and had good luck, right? And then like I'm like, okay, you're up 2 grand. I mean, can you not just sell, a few of your good things? Like I feel bad for the guys that didn't win, but there are ways to achieve what you want, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
yeah, yeah. I think you're missing the point I'm trying to get through to you. It's that you guys have set up a system that is just going to make people not want to play your game anymore at a high level. Because
Because because
be,
because the perception is, and let me just make sure I understand it because I think I do. The perception is if you have a max regular foil deck, you should get a max regular foil, give or take some luck, right? So you get about like a max set of airdrops.
yeah,
Like
you should get.
that's the expectations.
That's
Or
the expectation that was set in the last set. It was only one set ago. That's
yeah,
what
I
you
know.
got in Rebellion. So the expectation, and it's not even that we don't expect to have anything else, right? Like I said, I have a couple black foils. I have a couple gold foil legendaries. I have a couple max gold foil commons. I'm not saying that maybe you shouldn't have to fill in your deck with a few extra pieces to get to that level, right? You have to sugar the pot a little bit. But you guys have said you guys don't even get close when you do that now. You get 3 cards.
Well, but again, okay. I don't know how much did you put in if you don't mind asking? Like what was your net investment?
It was for the last set. It was about $8,000. For this
Okay.
set, it's currently at about $7,000.
Okay,
I did
so
I did
let's
have
just say,
some other money that I was gonna move over, but things have been shaky, so I've been investing more very slowly, seeing where things are going.
okay, and I'm not like trying to belittle that or, I mean, 7,000 a lot of money, right? My point though is
Yeah,
number
and
one,
here's my collection. My total modern collection is $14,000 right now.
okay, and so you put in 8,000 and 7,000, and it's worth 14.2.
14-2. So I'm down. I'm not down, and this is why I think it's time to walk away. I'm not down a lot. I'm not hurt a lot. I can become a land player, and I have a lot of wild cards too. I can click here, and I've got another
Go
17 to
back,
twenty two
go
thousand
back.
dollars in wild cards.
Can you go back to your
So
modern though? Okay, and can you go to the card screen instead of the bulk screen? You know what I'm talking about? To see where it's blue in the upper right, go to
you're
the
talking
one
about
over,
this one.
go to grid. Yeah, grid. So if you scroll down to your click on like gold foils, for instance, and do you have anything and go to like legends?
Yeah, I don't have max leveled ones, but I do have two of these.
Okay. What about the
I
epic
I don't
one?
have any gold foil epics. I do have some gold foil rares. I'm not a gold foil player though. I
Right.
do have, like I said, I have a few black foils, not arcanes, but regulars. There's my
I'm
3.
a, okay. So all right. So my point is how much, let me think how to put this. All
Yeah,
right.
and I mean, I'll show you. If I go to my conflict, I staked pretty much all my good cards, and here I am. They're currently staked. I'm earning 514,000 per hour. It's not a big number. And
Yeah, I
here's
know.
my chances. It's at 4. I've talked to other players with similar investments of mine into both sets. I mean, do you remember I run group pre-sales? I work with about 10 to 12 other people every buy. We all put in about the same money. We're all pissed. We're all going, that's it, we're done. So it's not. I'm not coming from this point of view to where I'm going, because we basically all look at it that you guys just all said, you know what, we don't care about you guys anymore. We care
Yeah,
about the
but
guys who put in more.
that's not the case though, Steve. I mean, it's like you're saying like if you don't, okay, the premise is if you put in uh if you have a max foil deck, max foil regular foil deck, you should get about, give or take a few cards, some a little, maybe a little over, maybe a little under, but we should try to make it so that you get max airdrop set, right? Like all
You
of
know
them
what?
should come
I
with it.
do understand to a caveat that that can't necessarily always be done. If the game was a lot more popular, if there were a lot more people playing it, if the issue was I got pushed down to 4 because that was the new average people were getting, that would be understandable. But that's
But
not what happened. What happened was you created a new kind of card. You thought it would be exciting and you wanted to make it really cool. But what it did, because of how much power you gave it, it imbalanced your conflict system. That is the mistake that we're saying was made. We're not saying the math is wrong, that it's wrong to only give 3,000 cards, that it's wrong to base it on the amount of CP that we have. We're saying these numbers are way too big. And
but if
you guys have
okay,
capped it in the past when a card's number was way too big. In land, when the gold foil alphas were way too big, and you didn't want to let players min max things the way they're min maxing them now, you said you can only have 100,000 points on one plot of land.
right,
Yet they can stake one card on one wagon worth 236,000 points. That's more than half of my entire set. And I have a set worth $14,000. And one
Yeah,
card can,
Steve,
can, can do half my set.
Can I interject here for just a
Yes.
minute? Because I think this is the crux of the matter here that we're kind of talking around here for the first hour or so. And, I think at the end of the day, I think the point is that the black foil CP, or the amount of chances they're generating, is disproportionate at a magnitude that's maybe not planned for. So I can give you some stats here just to kind of level set. So if you just look at regular foil compared to black foil, because we all know what the regular foil, the gold foil has looked like historically, because that's been in Chaos Legion, it's been in Untamed, it was in Rebellion, so we kind of know what that looks like. But a regular foil common CP is 2100. A black foil common is 24,937. That's a multiplier of 11.87x, right, on just the CP between a black foil and a regular foil common at max level. Now, the cost in the market is interesting because the floor market cost for a regular foil common is $20, where a black foil market is 130. So it's a 6.5x in cost between the two, yet you're getting almost twice that in wagon value, right? So the market doesn't really value one-to-one airdrop to market pricing, right, for commons. It even gets a little bit more exaggerated as you go down the rarity. For example, rares, I won't go into the specific numbers, but I have them in front of me. The CP you get from a black foil rare is 23.91, almost 24x what a regular foil rare is in the wagon. The cost is a 13x, right? Go to epics, it's a 27.17x at the floor level between a regular foil epic and a black foil epic. And at a legendary price level for CP, it's a 45.45x. It's 262,500 or 262,500 CP for a black foil legendary, and only 5,775 for a max foil regular foil. So I think that's the crux of it from a math perspective. If you just take out that this is new, right? I think we have to kind of table the argument for just, I'm being fair to all sides here, that the goalposts have moved with Conclave Arcana. The expectation that any player has coming into this, that what happened in Rebellion is going to be the same as what happens in Conclave Arcana, should just be checked at the door as not realistic, because of the introduction of black foils, black foil arcanes, and gold foil arcanes into the system, which I think for a collector's perspective and a card pack and the selling perspective is all good for the game as a whole. But I think to Steve's point, Dave, there is a discrepancy in here how the CP is calculated for the airdrops and the mage wagons that probably should be looked at. We have this first airdrop, we can look at it and see if there's anything that needs to, be potentially looked at. Because Matt originally proposed for land, if you remember, in land, when they had gold foil alphas, right? They would just generate so much more resources for people like Gold Matters and others that we said, hey, that's just going to break land before it even gets started. And we don't want that. So we put a cap on the plots of land and how much, you could generate on a single plot of land for PP. I would probably suggest that we look at, as a community, doing something possibly similar for future wagon airdrops to say, maybe this should be looked at. Maybe it's a DAO vote. Maybe it's a company decision. I don't know. But something, when you have people like Steve and Plato and others that are longtime community members feeling this upset, and I don't blame Steve for being upset. I mean, I don't blame others for being upset. But again, it's a matter of expectations of the past and the future of swim lines moving forward. And how do we get to a happy medium where people that have put in a significant amount, multiple thousands of dollars, shouldn't feel like they're, third class beggars and peasants, right? At the same time, they shouldn't feel necessarily entitled that they should get everything for free like they got before, because the game has changed. So I would just say that we probably need to take a sidebar, just look at the data, see where things at, look at everyone's point of view, and understand that there's probably a happy middle ground somewhere in between here. But as it stands right now, it's probably not the best implementation. And I think it all comes down to the black foil numbers being exponentially higher than anything they've ever seen before. And for those that invested in black foils, right? Good on you. As to your point, Dave, it wasn't hidden. This was known, right? If you do the math and you see the market pricing, you know that there's good values here for airdrops with black foils, and black foils are the way to get those airdrop bonuses. Is it worth spending $2,000 for a black foil legendary to get those airdrops? I mean, that's maybe a different question, but there's definitely advantages to these cards that if you didn't take advantage of those in the marketplace, or you didn't get lucky to draw some of these cards, you're definitely feeling it now. So I'll just say that and inject that. I know there's been a lot of conversation here.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with everything you just said, and I think it still comes down, like Steve, you were showing the total, right? And you like let's just say you said 7 grand, right? So I forget the numbers of what everybody did, but I know somebody probably did 70 grand, right? So you bought 7 grand worth of packs, and he meaning I'm assuming it's a he, maybe it was a she, bought 70,000 worth of packs. Do they not get 10 times more stuff than you do on average? Like, again, forget about RNG, right? They bought 10 times more. Should they not get 10 times more?
But they're not getting 10 times more.
Well,
They're getting like 50 times more.
then there's something that changed in that, because if if okay, if let's say you bought regular packs versus alchemy packs, right? Like the alchemy packs yielded
I
more
bought
black
legendary packs. I just got
foil.
super unlucky.
Right. So that's my
So
point, right? Like there's a mechanic involved. Like we didn't say buy standard packs, buy alchemy packs, or buy legendary packs. Like we said, here's 3 things you can do. Play however you want, right? Here's the odds, right? And some people played it and did well, and other people played it and didn't do well. And in retrospect, obviously, people are saying to me, like, well, the legendary packs skewed everything. And you can see by the numbers, a high percentage of packs sold were the alchemy packs, right? I think precisely because they had the black foil. Having said that, right, like everybody had that knowledge. And now that we look at it, like as Tails was just saying, like, sure, we can see, like, well, this is the first time we ever priced these things, right? So is $12 the right price? Should it have been 10? Like all those kind of things could have been shifted, right, in hindsight. But having said that, everybody had the same data and the same information. When somebody spends money, if somebody spends 60,000 or 70,000 and you spent 7, I would think that you would be able to say that dude should get 10 times more than me.
Mm-hmm.
That
So,
way I think
but
I would think
the guys I talked to who are getting 40 cards did not spend $70,000. They
right.
didn't.
So there's a reason. Okay, if a guy spent okay, so either they were super lucky and pulled like I think in the black foils, I haven't looked at the legendaries, for instance, like Tails just talked about it being 45 times more valuable than the regular foil legend. But in that particular case, there's like 7 or 8 of them, right? There's not that many of them. So I don't know the numbers to know who got what, right? But I know in total, it's like, yes, if 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 you had 70 grand and you get, let's call it 60, then you, Steve, who had 7, 1/10 of that, should get 6. So if you only get 4, something happened, not in the system nefariously or anything like that, but something happened to make that happen. Maybe you just got really unlucky. Maybe the black foil you got was all commons, or whatever the case may be.
I got
Or
extremely unlucky. I am aware of that, but
well, so but I don't even
I
think I
still
don't even think
stand by that
you're
this isn't. Look, what Tails is making is saying is making sense. I just feel like even though the data was there, the feeling in the community was that because the airdrops were not, had not officially been explained.
yes,
We didn't know if there'd be any limits to the wagons. We didn't
yes,
know any of the kind of things that might be in it exactly. We didn't know the cost of the repairs. We didn't know how much aura and land would go into it. All of this stuff came out later. But
yes,
my general point of all of this entire stream, is that this system is not good, and it's going to cause people to not enjoy the airdrop process. They're going to feel cheated at the bottom and in the middle. They're going to be highly rewarded at the top. And, if that's the way the system is going to work, if it's only going to reward the guys who spend 60, 70, $80,000, I really hope you can find a lot of those guys. I think it's
Steve.
easier to find a lot of guys who will put in 5 to 6 to 7,000, but if we are now, other than when you get really lucky and hit that black foil legendary, reduced down to saying, well, if you want to be competitive, you're going to have to be a buyer of airdrop cards from the guys that spent more or got lucky at an extreme level too. Not by 2, not by 3, not even by 4, but on average you're going to be forced to buy 8 to 9 of these cards every time if you want to stay competitive. It's just adding to a, if the Splinterlands game is, hey, buy a set of cards, get a max level set. Now every couple when the airdrops start, buy 8 or 9 more cards that are going to be kind of expensive if you want to stay competitive. And then if you want to stay competitive still later on, we're probably going to do a few more legendary special drops. We're going to do Yabba's Pickle, and that's something you're going to have to buy too, because all of these cards that get released are good cards. Some of them are meta-defining cards. This is what you guys have told us, and I'm just saying it's just gotten to the point where, for me, and I'm not a small person. I put over $20,000 into Chaos Legion. I put $8,000 into the last set, $7,000 into this set, multiple thousands of dollars into Untamed. I have an overall account that's worth, over $40,000. I've said you guys have broke me. This is just too much.
So
You're asking
if I
too
can,
much.
if I can add a couple thoughts here. So Steve, I totally get it. And it's for me hearing this, and I'm a neutral part here. Like I have really no opinion either way, either side of this. I'm just kind of here and just getting my airdrops I'm getting and, okay with it. But it's definitely concerning that you and others in the community that have significant investment in the game, not only in the past but now, in this current set, plus creating content, and have always been very positive on Splinterlands, are feeling this way. So the takeaway here is this should not be a feels bad moment. An airdrop should be a feels good moment. It should be where you feel like you're getting something of benefit that just for participating in the ecosystem for free or as an added bonus. And it's the inverse that's happened here for right or wrong. So the takeaway from a team perspective should be something's doesn't smell right here, doesn't feel right here. We should probably look at it. The bigger question here is we're not going to solution the perfect answer to how this could be addressed on this, live stream, right? That's a given. The bigger question is assuming that there is a perfect answer that can be reached, right, and a compromise could be met with the community. How could that even go forward? Because the team is in a real bit of a pickle here, not to use a pun, but I mean, it's a no-win situation. If you change something now through, for example, a DAO vote, let's say you come together, Steve, you put a DAO vote together through Clay, and goes to the community, and let the community decide if they want to change it or not because the solution makes sense or it doesn't, whatever that happens to be, right? The challenge you have here is then from a team perspective, you're now at a crossroads where now for those that invested in the black foils like Deuce and others on that list, they're going to feel like they're disenfranchised, right? And so you don't want players on either side of the spectrum to walk. You want to come away with the team saying, hey, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe we address it for the next set and we learn our lesson and we do the math up front and we do more of this planning and have more of this transparency. And maybe that gets to a happy medium where you say, okay, we bite the bullet on this airdrop for Conclave Arcana. We understand the team's listening and they're going to make changes. I just think if either way at this point in time, someone on one side of the coin is going to be unhappy. And at this point of the game, there's so much positive happening with the team that are making positive inroads and doing the best that they can. It would just be, tragic if some of our biggest supporters and longest time supporters walked away from the project now when, for something that should be a feels good moment. So I think, Dave, the takeaway should be, we should do some research, get to the bottom of what happened here, and then find a way to instill confidence on both sides of the fence that this is not going to happen again, ideally. And, I think the other thing that was mentioned, I think this was mentioned in chat by Deuce, and that, the precedence there's always been, the same number of legendaries that were in this set issued or an airdrop. And I'll just say that is not true, because in the Chaos Legion, the first airdrop for the Chaos Legion set, because again, there was a miscalculation in the number of packs sold in the presale, there are 30% more Grum Flame Blades, Eyes of the Fanged, and They're the Darks printed than any other core legendary because of the airdrop was overproduced. Again, it's because it was unforeseen because of the sales, and it was already published that this is the way it's going to work. The reason why I bring that up is the team is forging new ground with every new set, every change to the ecosystem and the economy. So as players and as community members, we have to kind of understand that there's going to be missteps and there's going to be things that aren't going to be perfect. As long as the team can address them and fix them for the future, I think that's what we have to, acknowledge and understand that this is a living, breathing Web3 experiment. And, we're not always going to be happy. I mean, I've certainly not been happy in the past with some of the decisions around bots, but I'm still here, right? Because I believe in the team and the vision that they have. So I would just say, Steve, because I want to talk you off the ledge as a friend here, don't give up, the modern, don't give up the fight. Yes, it kind of sucks that we're not getting the airdrops that we would normally expect to, but I think we have to look at the bigger picture and see that, this is, something that can be fixed in the future and just may not go our way for this particular cycle.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the problem is it's a pattern, right? It's just a pattern of them like not seeing how expensive the cards are for like a lot of the people, not changing the prices on any of the stuff, and just continually expecting people to pay a very premium price, well, honestly, the rewards just go down, down, and down. And I don't see how we bring a lot of people in and turn them into paying members of this community if the new standard is you have to put in $60,000.
Well, that's not
Um,
the new standard, I don't think. I think that's
well,
unreasonable. I think
that's
there's
what
the
I'm
top
being
wall.
told here by Dave. I should have put in 60,000.
No,
Mm,
that's
Seven
not what
thousand
I
wasn't
said,
enough.
Steve. I was
No,
giving an
that's what it
example.
feels like you're saying, Dave.
Okay, well then let me clarify then. Thank you for bringing that up. I was giving you an example that if somebody spent 10 times more than you, they should get 10 times more of the airdrops. That's all. I wasn't saying they should do that. I wasn't saying like, oh, if you want to be a player, invest 70,000 bucks. Like I'm not saying that at all. And to be quite honest, we don't get money from these airdrops. We're making the cards, we're distributing them based on people that bought packs, right? Like that's
No,
basically what we're doing.
that's
So
not what you're doing. You're giving them out based on who has the black foils. That's
no,
who's getting
because
the cards.
Steve, if you spent $6,000 and you bought $6,000 worth of packs, and somebody bought 60,000, they did the exact same thing you did, but they did 10 times more of it. That's all. So whatever the composition in those packs is random, right? It's just
Yeah,
random.
but it's not the money invested only that's deciding this. It's your luck in the pools, and we've given so much power to the lucky pools that it's skewing the rewards at a very extreme level.
That I would agree with, but I will also say that's there are people that have pulled like a black foil legendary arcane card, right?
Yeah, I know. Tails is right below me.
And they
He did
get
it.
like they like win the lottery, right? Like it's, way more than what they put in and they got lucky. I mean, is that like I didn't get that, right? But I'm not mad that I didn't get that. It's like I don't feel like I'm ever going to win those things. Having said
Yeah,
that,
see,
I,
and the comments that like I just keep seeing over and over again is go buy more.
I'm not saying that.
But that's what people think. And
Yeah,
it's like,
because it's like what they think about the part that the number of wagons getting killed, right, should be like one for one, right? And somebody assumed that we gave a tax break, right, to the rich, which was not the case whatsoever. In fact, we thought we were helping the little guys, and obviously it didn't work out that way. So we'll fix it on the next one. So my point is like, no, there's no like you said that the game's expensive with declining rewards. That's a legit point, right? Like I'm telling you as the chief operating officer of the company that that's a legit point, right? The only way to fix that, right, is to get more new players, and the only way to get more new players is to create an environment where they can come in and they can spend $5, $10, $20, $50 and enjoy themselves. What do you think I've been working on? That's exactly what I've been working on. That's coming out next week, right? So it's like you're upset about this. I understand. Like I don't want people to not be unhappy either, right? And I'm not saying like, "Ooh, tough luck, you had bad luck." Like, but at the same token, I can't. There's some people have brought suggestions, right? Like here's an interesting suggestion, just to give you an idea, that just so you know I'm listening. Somebody said, "Why don't we have like two different things we can opt to do with our conflict points, right? Like I can go for the whatever, a rare card or something else, right? That I can spend my money on, maybe some land item or totem or something like that, or and take a chance of getting that, or I could go for the high end stuff, right? And so the point is, like trying to fit everybody into the whale category is something that I believe has been done. I don't think I may look that way, but literally the way the decision was made is take a list, take a snapshot of all the collection power divided by the number of cards, and that's how much it was. Like there was nothing nefarious. There was nothing that said oh, you got regular foils, you're gonna get screwed. Like when whatever comes in the packs, right? Whether it's gold foils, black foils, or regular foils, should come on average to people. Some are going to be a little more lucky than others, but at the end of the day, that collection power is the same. Now, if it's overpriced, like Tail said, sure, we can look at it and reset for the next set, not this set, but the next set. We can certainly say, is that a good look? Did it serve a good purpose? But to say like we're wanting people to have 60 grand or 70 grand. Like, no, I mean, I want hundreds of thousands of people that put $50 in the game. That's my goal. Because I know there will be people that put 50 grand into it because they want to, right? But not because they have to. Like, I don't want you to feel like you spent 6 grand and you know you can't play the game. I mean, you can play the game. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you should be able to play the game for 7 grand for the 7,000 you put in.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back again, Dave, to the math though. The problem is with the Black Foil edition adding so much additional CP and basically chances at the wagons, if you don't have those black foils in the same ratio as the other cards, you're just going to get less, and some a lot less than Rebellion. And I think that's the disconnect, and that's the feels bad part of this, is because of, let's just use generic numbers. Let's say in Rebellion there was a total potential CP pool of 10 million, right? And then it got split up. All the cards got split up by people that had gold foils and regular foils out of 10 million. The problem is now you've got a CP pool of, let's say, 1 billion or 100 million or something. It's a magnitude exponentially greater.
Right.
And it just goes to a very few select people that have those black foil cards that give them that exponential 45x or 27x, whatever boost. That's where I think Steve is having the feels bad, because he's like, hey, I did what I'm supposed to do as a community member, as a competitive player. I dropped my 8 grand in here. I got a full set, and now I'm not getting what I feel like I should be getting. And whether that, again, as we talked about earlier, whether that's realistic or not, given the changes here going on in the game, it's a different thing. It still feels bad. So I think from a team perspective, it would be good for planning for the next set to go back and look at how wagons are done, because I think wagons are a good addition, right? I think the airdrops and stuff is a positive thing. I just think the black foil kind of addition just kind of skewed things in a way that it's going to have not a great effect, as we're seeing with Steve and some others in the community. So it's not ideal, but it is what it is. It's where we're at right now, I think.
So if I understand your point, and Steve, you can tell me if you agree with this. Basically, I think what Tails is saying is, by having the black foils in there, even though the odds are the same for everybody, if you don't get one, it's going to feel bad because it's so much better for the guys that were lucky enough to get them, if that makes sense.
Or who bought them or spent money instead of on packs on black foils in the market, as an example, right?
Right. But my point is, like, if I had $7,000 worth of packs and Steve had $7,000 worth of packs and we both go buy them, and I get lucky and get a black foil legend and maybe a couple black foil epics, and he gets unlucky and gets a couple commons, and that's it, right? The luck factor of the RNG for those black foils creates a dynamic where the guy that lost to the guy that won, it's going to create a very negative perception.
Yeah, I think just back of the napkin math, Dave, like if you, for example, in your example, got a black foil legendary and 1 black foil epic, it's going to give you about 2 guaranteed airdrops for
more than that.
each airdrop.
Give you about 3.
No, I'm two per airdrop. Meaning, so over the course of, let's say, was it 9 airdrops? Is it? I forget how many days exactly. You're going to get like 18 extra cards,
right?
Which is actually about 50% more than Steve would get with a full max regular foil deck. So
Right.
that's kind of the rough numbers.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the real
the
issue
point that you're
is
making is
it's not even that it feels bad. It's that the math of a black foil card in the airdrop has diminished the rewards for having a max foil deck so much that it's like, why even have a max foil regular deck? If I can't play this game, if I'm not willing to go out and buy the multiple $1,000 cards, the black foil cards, I just shouldn't play anymore.
yeah, but
Because
that's because of the unluckiness, though, is my point.
no, it's because of the power of them. If the power wasn't so high, if they weren't
Yeah,
groundbreakingly
yeah, yeah.
broken in the system, if somebody couldn't match my entire deck with two cards, that is the problem here.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not the luck, okay? It's not just the luck. It's the extreme change for in there and for the winners and losers. It's not that he won and I lost. It's that he won and he took half of my rewards away from me when he
Yes.
did it. So it's not so what you guys have turned those little notifications of somebody getting a cool card instead of a hey that's cool. It's a god damn it another guy who got it instead of me. And it's literally what you've done by making them so powerful. It makes people jaded. It makes people angry. And these are moments that should be celebrated. I want to celebrate them, but celebrate that. But then again, every time I see one, I'm going to be like, that's going to be one more guy that's going to stake a card that is worth half of my deck. Half of my deck. I mean, that's incredible differences. So I understand. To be competitive in airdrops, I have to go buy some black foil epics and black foil rares, and that's just annoying to me.
I know.
As a
I
player,
had to too. By
that's
the
where
way.
I have to be. That if I want to be competitive, if I want to get a decent amount of cards, you just have to go get these now. There's no other way around it. You're not competitive if you don't have them. You're
Well,
getting
I
two
think
cards if you don't have them.
I want to take a step back, Steve, because again, like if you buy a black foil epic, I mean, it's going to cost you like floor price right now is like $710 roughly. So again, it comes to a point of what is your goal to be competitive and to earn it. I mean, at some point, it's just cheaper to buy the airdrops than it is to buy the black foils to get the airdrops, right? The same argument can be said on land. At what point is staking $50 worth of DEC to generate, like 2 cents a grain a day worthwhile, right? So it's all a matter, again, how you play the game. Are you playing it for ROI? Are you playing it to win games in modern? Or it's just how you play the game, what your goal is. I would just be careful in saying that you have to buy black foils to be competitive, because no, you don't. You can actually just probably buy them off the market and probably pay less in the grand scheme of things.
Well,
And
Whether
okay.
that
So it's a middle. You're right. I messed that up a little bit. It's not to be competitive when you play the game, but it's just if you don't want to airdrops can mean one of two things to people. It's either a win or it's another $200 that I have to find to put into the game, and at this point, a system that is designed like that, I'm just like, I don't want to be a part of that anymore.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you guys did get through to me the point, which I'm going to tell you what I think it is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the RNG factor is like you're going to get a plus or a minus. Again, we'll just use 7,000. I spend 7,000. You spend 7,000. I get lucky. You don't. That's not the problem. The lucky versus not lucky, because that may be even not a big dollar number. But what I think what you're saying is the lucky guy, because of the weighting of the black foils in the conflicts, the the impact to it's like that guy is like out drinking champagne and super excited because, like you said, he gets like half your whole deck, right? Because he got lucky. And then you're obviously, when somebody wins that big, on the other side, there's somebody like kicking their dog and, wanting to beat their wife, right? Like, so I get it. Like, at least I think I get it. What you're saying is it's not so much that the black foils come the way they come and you get lucky or not. What you're saying is the impact of the weighting of those black foils creates such a disparity to the winners versus the loser of that lottery. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it mind boggles me that there's literally a card out there that is more than half of my CP. And I know they're rare at this point, but they're going to get less rare as we go.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. I understand. So I agree that the collection power is the collection power. There's zero chance that we can change this for this set, just so you know. So for expectation purposes, there's zero chance that we could like even if you guys put up a vote, I don't think there's any way it would ever pass.
No,
So
no, and I'm not expecting to change things, Dave. It's not my goal here. My goal here is to tell you, you guys lost me. I'm gone. You can get me
right.
back, maybe, but I'm gone. The way
All right.
this works, it's just, I'm like, there's no way I'm buying, 10, 12 legendary cards and risking. Here's the other thing, I'm risking a dramatic drop off if I stay. I could sell all my cards now, and I lost $500 in this modern set, theoretically. If people will buy them from me, I can walk away, only lost $500 with my SPS earnings, even though they're small. It might be only like 100 or 200 bucks, right? That's not a terrible story. I want to tell that story. I don't want to tell this story. I stayed. I kept giving you money into the system. My 7,000 investment went to 9. The next set came out. My rebellion set that's currently worth 7,000 became worth 2,000 because it's not in modern anymore. It's not that good on land, so it plummeted. And now I have to buy a new set, and if I don't get lucky on black foils, I get to do that all again. Continually put more money in, and then watch another set fall away into the wayside.
Yeah,
And that's why at this point I'm going, you know what, this is a time when if I'm gonna walk away, it's the most responsible time to walk away, in my opinion. And just walk away from modern, right? I have a wild deck. I'll go play wild. I have 200 lands. I'll go work my land. I'll see what you guys do, and maybe I'll come back into a set if it's going to be different. But this set has, and what this has done has just made me say it's not going to be worth it to stay here. It's not going to be worth it. The airdrops are going to be terrible. I'm going to be pissed off every single time. It's just not going to be fun.
I mean, you I believe everybody should always make a decision that they believe is right. So I'm 100% for you being comfortable, right, and doing what you think is right. So I wouldn't try to talk you out of it. I mean, obviously I'm working to make it make you regret that, but whether I succeed or not is a whole different story, right? And like you said, you know, your decision is like your decision. Like you can't, I tell people this all the time when they look at the markets, right? Like you got to look down, right? And you got to say, well, what if the stock goes down 80%? And what if it goes up 300%? And then you got to look at each side and say, well, am I going to be okay if it goes down 80%? And if the answer is no, I'll be like living out of, I'll lose my house and my wife will divorce me, then maybe it will go up 300 or 400%, but you really shouldn't be in it because if it goes down, then you're going to lose your house and be homeless. Then you don't want to go that route. So each person has to decide what's best for them. Having said that, my job and my focus is on making sure that the people that do invest are happy and do succeed. And hopefully I can, you know, essentially take the feedback and, win you back at some point. I mean,
Yeah, and I
that's
appreciate that. And I don't expect you guys to jump for me. I'm not the most important person. Yes, I make content. Yes, I've gone kind of big into a few sets. I haven't gone the biggest. I'm not the biggest whale, guys. And I do enjoy playing the game. I'm not happy that it's gotten to a point where I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I understand. And honestly, I'm working on a lot of things. Like I said, we got a new set coming out, and it's today's, I guess, Thursday now. So in like 5 days, I mean, a new mode. We have two new little mini projects that are coming out, and then that doesn't even count land, which of course, if you stay on land, you'll be happy about because we're working on something there. Um, in terms of like rewards in the game, like I talked about the binary situation where there's, we went from one extreme to the other extreme. I think there's somewhere in the middle. And that pretty much applies to everything in terms of like at the end of the day, you made a couple comments like, I don't want a guy at $5,000. Like, yeah, I want guys at $50. I want guys at $100. I definitely love guys at $1,000. So 5,000 is, yeah, and what I hear you saying is, hey, I'm not that far down. So while I'm not that far down, I kind of like saw the potential for failure, right? And therefore I don't want to take that risk anymore. And I can't blame you for that. And I feel bad that I didn't communicate this better in the beginning, right? Like at the end of the day, I had no idea it was going to be like this. Like I thought a few grumbled people would like say, "Oh yeah, why am I not getting 200 like last time?" But I mean, I thought it was, pretty well understood what the formula was. And obviously, I didn't do a good job of like saying, "Hey, you guys all think it's going to be 200, but it really is probably going to be like I thought it was going to be 675 or 650, excuse me." So I thought it was going to be 650 based on my estimate. So when Matt actually came back with the actual numbers, it was 800, but it wasn't because he was trying to screw anybody. It's because that's actually what the numbers were. And like we've talked about, the problem is, like you said, when we weighted the black foils for the conflict specifically, it was a weighting that is great for the guy that got them and a really bad feeling for the guys that didn't, particularly the big ones. So I get it. I understand. And obviously, maybe next set we can do something to offset that in some way, shape, or form, i.e., possibly changing the conflict calculation. So I mean, the collection power is meant for people to be able to cash them in, right? Like that's the burn value. So there's a reason why that burn value was high. So they gave people comfort that they could, that they would have value, right? So having said that, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It just may be a tweak that needs to be done on the conflict wagons. Again, not this set, but another set down the road.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I mean, I think a lot of this conversation goes away if, a couple things happen here. I know we talk about the difference, Dave, between like hope and, all this other stuff. Yeah, confidence. But, the foundation or the basic mode is coming, which I really think will be a game changer to bring more Web 2 or more, non-crypto native games and eyes on this project, which I think, could be a very big boon for us. We've got, land products being incorporated in I would say a reasonable pace, which is going to change the game. I think if we can get to the basic mode where we can get this on iOS as an example, in addition to the Google Store, that can be a very big differentiator for us. We've got Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana rallying very strong here. We've got a very crypto friendly legal environment, at least in parts of the world right now, which we've never had before. And, this is all to say that, if the price of SPS isn't at 0.007, but it's at 7 cents, this conversation doesn't even happen. We're all talking about how do we get more stuff, right? Because the juice is worth the squeeze at that point. So I think, again, going back to your other point, Dave, is, if you're looking for an investment, right, you're probably better off putting your money in Bitcoin than Splinterlands. But if you're looking for something to as Rogue would say, play with your bags, play Web3 gaming, have fun, and maybe get some return in the future. Well, this is a good place to be because there's a lot of other projects doing, a lot of doing not nearly as well as Splinterlands is. So I would say we have to give it some time. Hopefully, the things that you're working on, Dave, in parallel to everything else outside of conflicts, does lift the boat here, and we get a good bit of tailwinds for us here. And then the conversation shifts, I think, in a pretty major way. So hopefully, if we can end on a positive note, hopefully that's something we can come back and talk about in the future, because that's the stuff that's, at the end of the day, for those who are either passively still here and just holding on to assets and like farming land, or actively playing, these are the things that are going to make a difference, in all of our asset values moving forward. And if these things don't work, well, then it's obviously a totally different story that we're having. So,
Yeah, and I agree, Tails. And I mean, just so I don't need the money. I don't need the job. I'm only here to make this work. If I didn't think I could make it work, I mean, I'm too old, man. I mean, when you're 63, you look at life different. Like I wouldn't have thought that when I was y'all's age, but I'm my age, right? And 7 years, I'm gonna be 70. I mean, to me, that's like old, like really old. Like I don't even think of myself as old at 63, but I've been in Splinterlands for 7 years, right? So I'm not gonna just diddle doddle around and like sort of make things happen. I mean, we're moving really fast on a lot of different things. It's hard for everybody to see because it's just hard to see. Like for instance, I'm working on several things that you guys don't know and really nobody knows. Blaze and I know. And having said that, or something I'm working at with you, Tails, I'm working on the Twitch thing. Um, is it going like I want? Hell no. Like I want it to go a lot quicker. Does that mean I'm gonna stop and say, forget it. We're just not gonna do Twitch. No, we're gonna do Twitch too. Right. So it comes down to like you get obstacles in life and you got to just figure out how to get by them. Sometimes it's over them, sometimes it's through them, sometimes it's around them, but you got to get by them or you got to not do it. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, like we're right there. This new mode coming out is going to be a big deal. So, Steve, one thing, if I mean, it's up to you, obviously, but you may want to like sell your doubles, right, until you see how this new mode works out. Like, give it, 2, 3, 4 weeks, because my goal is to increase our player base, not not I mean, again, it's free to play, so I'm not looking for revenue to go up this way, but I'm talking about getting a number of eyeballs that are playing our game on a day-to-day basis. I'm looking for multiples to be changed, not like can we have 5% more players? Like I'm looking at big numbers, right? And so whether we succeed or not at that, I don't know, but I mean, I'm going to do everything I can do to make that happen. And honestly, the game was not going to work without it, in my opinion. In other words, it's people needed a landing spot to be able to play the game and put a very little amount of money into the game and enjoy it. And I don't think we had that before. I don't think you could put 15 or 20 bucks in and go play Splinterlands and not feel that you wasted your money.
Yeah, no,
That's
I'm
my
excited for the stuff you want to do. That's why I'm not talking about just completely leaving. I also understand I'm emotional. I don't sell stuff when I'm emotional. That's how you make a huge mistake. So I'll wait a while, I'll be calm. I just like I couldn't imagine going through this whole airdrop cycle and just needing to just go like the way that it's set up. I just think it's terrible.
Yeah,
And
I hear it. And I honestly, if anybody was going to break through to me, I wouldn't have thought anybody would have. I do listen to everybody, but I typically don't, change if I don't believe it. But I will say that you guys convinced me the magnitude of the amount does cause a big the losers in the RNG factor feel really bad is the way I look at it. So I don't know if it was a combination of Steve and Tails that did it or whether it was one or the other of you, but I mean, at the end of the day, I can now understand that. Like, I think I got average. I don't think I got above average, but I don't think I got below. So to me, it's like, you bought a lot of packs. I got about what I thought I was going to get, right? But in other words, my percentage of the total is about what I put into it, right? So for instance, I use that example. If somebody put 10%, if we said a million, if we sold what 3 million, yeah, 3 million, and somebody put 300 grand in, they should have about 10%, right? So that on that end feels good, right? Like that's just 10%, 10%. But then when you're somebody at, at a fraction of that and you don't get the average, you don't get the really big stuff, then it feels really bad. And so I get it. Or at least you can tell
Yeah,
me if I
yeah, I
get it.
think you understand it. It's the guy who told me that he has basically the exact same deck as me, but has one black foil epic and one more black foil rare, and he's like, I'm getting 9 cards. I'm like, oh, okay. And I do understand. I could just go buy those. The reason I'm sounding off is because I don't think this is the way it should be. I don't think it's good. I think that if you want somebody to come in and put $50 in or $100 in and them to be happy and enjoyful for what's going on, if they get involved in the airdrops at all, they're not going to be. Because for $50 or $100, they're not going to have a black foil. They're going to go stake their cards. They're going to buy a $5 wagon and go, oh my god, I have no chance whatsoever.
Well,
And
that's
so,
that's the point of having other things that people can stake for, right?
yes, yes. And so when those come out, I'll be able to evaluate them, and it's good to know stuff is coming and things are changing. Dave, I know you're working hard. I know you're going to try to get this stuff here. As someone who's been here for 7 years at this point, coming soon has been in the past. It hasn't been soon, so hopefully this time it will be. Is what I'll say to that, and it could change things dramatically.
Do you guys hear me?
Oh, hey, baby, you're here.
Yeah. I was trying to say something in the past 20 minutes, but the discussion was very heated, so I was like, I'll just wait.
I don't. Hopefully, I don't. I didn't come across as heated. So.
No, 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 no. Well, that was a figure of speech. I mean, you just like it was a constant conversation, like constant dialogue. So I didn't want to jump in the middle because everybody was making their points. But yeah, I also like I missed some of the conversation, so it might have been mentioned as an idea or not. But I was just thinking there was a similar problem initially when land CP was calculated, and then the solution was just the plots are limited to a certain amount of CP no matter how many cards you put. So as a solution that doesn't require changing the CP of the cards, that might be one of the options. Like each wagon can have a certain amount of CP, and that will a little bit mitigate for what the whole conversation was about. So just an idea. I mean, I don't know if it was mentioned, if anybody else said it, but
can I ask you on that and ask the other two guys as well on that point? Like in the beginning, I said that I wouldn't call it an exploit because we set the rules, but we set the rules, for this particular airdrop that, if you got extra, you could keep them, right? Like there was no, again, I'm going to use tax because you guys were using the word tax. It's just easier to explain. There was no tax on the extra. If you set the wagon to have a limit of, let's say, 250,000, right? Which is, I think, about what the Black Foil Legend would be. So at the cap, and obviously you could only put one of those, like you couldn't put 5 of them. Would that solve the problem in y'all's opinion, or do you think just the fact that if they get a card, they gotta have a wagon.
Well, see, one of the things that it will solve is one of the points that Steve mentioned is they don't even need to get as many wagons because you know the one of their wagons is like 3 max decks or whatever. But if they can put only one black foil card on the wagon, then at least they need to get more wagons, which was the point. Like at least some of the small to medium guys that actually are invested in land will have some opportunity to sell wagons.
So so
Just an
you so,
example.
so you would like to see that as a thing we had as well, basically.
Yeah, I
That would
think
be an interesting change. It would drive more value to landowners, and as a landowner, then maybe the good part of this would outweigh the bad part of it, and I would just take a wash on the whole thing. But it wouldn't really solve the overall problem
No, the overall
that
problem cannot be solved,
well, in
obviously.
my mind, baby, hold on. Let me just finish really quick. The
Okay.
overall problem here, in my mind, is that the black foils in the conflicts were just given too big of a bonus,
Yes, but
because
that is done. That cannot be
they
changed.
and I know I don't expect it to be changed right now. That's why I haven't really been pushing. I have not once said, Dave, go change it right now. I've been explaining what I think, and that I feel like it's a big mistake. And if I do feel it's not corrected, it could be quite damaging. And unfortunately it's here. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong. But you've basically said that a max foil set is equivalent to like 2 black foil epics in the calculations that we have. So a player, literally to me here, this is once again Splinterlands missing the mark on rewarding good behavior. Because would you rather have a player come in and buy 2 black foil cards or a max set and play the game? To me, it's the player who's going to buy the max set and play the game, not the guy who's going to come in and speculate and buy a couple black foils and get a massive airdrop, and probably just sell those airdrops and leave. But you're literally incentivized right now to not have a max set of cards and play the game. You're incentivized to have a couple black foils on a couple wagons, min max this thing, and make a ton of money. So we incentivize the wrong things around here all the time. People are not dumb, they exploit it, and they hurt our tokens. And it's not good to me. Like, I don't even feel that bad about the guy who has a max foil deck and got a few more and is getting 8. But I feel absolutely horrible at the guys who are min maxing this to the max, don't even own full sets, and are bragging about it. Because they obviously don't play the game. They're not here to play our game and compete at it at a high level. They're here, finding their opportunities to min max this thing, make more money for themselves, and in turn it hurts our community. And it makes players like me who are here to play the game feel like, once again, the team made a little mistake that can be exploited by people with a bit more money than I have, and they're doing it. And
yeah,
you said Dave looked into it and he found out that they are, and that's why he might make the change to at least make them have to stake a wagon to earn a card. But it just screams, don't come play Splinterlands. Come buy black foils, get airdrops, dump them, and leave.
what so I definitely understand the thought process there and the feeling, Steve. One thing I'll maybe ask Dave is kind of a related topic here, is because I think we've seen in the past, so one thing, the Splinterlands team is very streamlined, and it's not super large. It doesn't have a lot of redundancy, and they're working on many projects at the same time in parallel. One of the things that we've seen, like with conflicts here, with survival mode, and with other things that were rolled out, is we've seen a couple of gaps and maybe exploits or things that might have been missed in calculations and stuff that community members were pretty quick to pick up on, Dave. And one of the things I would just maybe, as how do we get better at this, right? Because we know the limitations of the team, and that's just the way it is. But is there a way that that you can use the community as a multiplier in a scaled capacity to say, hey, can we maybe have the DAO nominate, 2 or 3 individuals that will sign NDAs, and we'll just share some of this information as we get it, just as a double check, right? Because having extra eyes on some of this stuff is not a bad thing, because if it finds exploits and it finds things that can be nipped in the bud before it even becomes an issue, and it doesn't cost the team any money, only it costs you is the time to include them in a cycle or in a Slack team or something like that. Maybe that's something we can do as a community to help and to just avoid some of these things that take iteration, because we all want to move fast. We don't want to slow the team down because we want the stuff to go faster, not slower. But that would be something maybe as a takeaway where we can look at survival mode, look at conflicts and other things like that to say, hey, maybe there's something we can do here. Like we've had success with the test server and the card testing that was done with some community members that were able to provide feedback. Maybe expand that and do it as a test run to say, hey, let's get some NDAs out there. Let's have some extra eyes on this. Not a ton, maybe just a couple. And maybe we can, speed up the process and get you better final products at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm 100% for that. I mean, honestly, I'm thrilled we had the team testers. I'm working with you on the Twitch thing. I'm happy to work Jangles. I work with stuff. And sure, I would love to have it be official as well, but also unofficial. Like all you guys, like to me, this is like we're all here and we want to see it succeed. Not everybody, right? But most. Put it this way, not the guys Steve described, but all the guys that get mad at the guys Steve described are the ones that I want to hear from. And like I want the guys that are trying to protect the system. So I don't get unhappy about that. I get thrilled about that. So yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I mean, look, we've got 40 people here just on YouTube. I don't know how many are in Twitch, but I mean, this is like 1 a.m, and people are here passionate, having conversations because we're here for the betterment of the game. And hats off to you, Steve, for you know giving a hot take and giving the community your raw opinions and letting your feelings be known. I mean, I've done that too, and it's burned me in the past, and it's not always pleasant getting that out there into the public because not everyone's going to agree with it. But also, shout out to you, Dave, for being here at 1 a.m. on your time zone to be able to hear discuss it. I'm sure you got an early morning with lots of stuff to do, but you're here listening to the community, in a very vulnerable environment, and it's just both of you guys, thanks for doing this, and I think we'll get to a better spot here. So
Thanks, Tails. And also, you know, I try to under promise and over deliver on everything I ever do. So I'll just say this, Steve, for you also from an evaluation standpoint, I got here in March. So, you know, it's only been 4 months. So you can look and see what's happened in 4 months and make it as like because you made the comment like you guys always do this, right? Like I think we're doing a lot of things that we haven't always done, right?
No, you
And
got the team has done better. There's been a lot of videos where we talk about all the cool things that you do. Most people would call me normally a bull, but this right here, it just the way the leaderboard looks, the amount of cards, the tops that are getting. It's the first time I've seen in a while where I just went like, wow, they're just really undervaluing the guys who just want to play the game, who just want to have a max set, because RCP is just dwarfed to the extreme by these black foils. It's pushed us down from guys who used to get 7 or 8 cards in airdrop to guys who are going to get 3, 4, and at the end when they get really important, when that dragon or summoner comes out, 2 or 1. And so it's taken a part of the game that used to be like, it's exciting, let me go claim my airdrops, and maybe I'll get some luck, to like now it's like if I don't get lucky, I gotta come and buy a lot more cards. And so it's no longer is fun. It's like whoever has fun clicking a button and finding out, okay, I gotta spend $200 more, or I gotta spend $150 more. Those just that's not a fun airdrop. And it's just pointing out that this is, in the past, if I during the last Rebellion set, the airdrops were fun. They were rewarding. I got a couple gold foils. One time I hit 13 cards. It was something to stream about every single time. And now it's just going to be something to not even talk about. To instead try to, like, okay, what crypto am I going to sell? What am I not going to buy this month instead? And one of the missed caveats with a lot of people is they think I'm a whale just because I got here early and I have a decent amount of those old cards that were not expensive when we were buying them. And then I took all of my profits that I made from the game and pretty much put them back into the game. That's how I put $20,000 into Chaos Legion. And that's also where, my initial money came. So I haven't been an extractor. I've been a reinvestor. But it's just, I got to the point now where, like, and it's not fully just like, it's just because the writing on the wall to me is being a landowner and producing land is going to get a lot more rewarding than being a modern player who just is playing at the top of modern.
But that can't be the case, just so you know. In other words, yes, land is a focus because it was neglected so long, but we can't not bring along modern ranked. That is the core to our game at this point.
So
we have to figure out a way to make that work.
I get what you're saying, but basically for the airdrops for me, as someone who can produce land, it's either invest more money, take my land resources and turn them into more wagons, keep buying cards that I don't necessarily need, right? Because I have a current max set, so this would be like changing something to a gold foil or changing something to a black foil. Invest more to be more competitive. That's one option. Or it's don't even compete in this, and just sell wagons and make money. That's the choice you guys have given me. And so I'm leading towards, I'm just going to sell you wagons. Because I don't want to do that other chase. I'm not, you haven't incentivized me to want to do that. Or, like Tails said, and even then, doing that is actually kind of silly. I should just spend the $200 each airdrop to buy the cards I need, because that would be the more sensible way to do it, and just, be like, okay, the airdrop is a discount on buying the new cards. That's about the best way I could look at them, is every month I get a little discount on the cards. And it's just, I don't feel like that's how the team should design their airdrops to be for players who are theoretically playing with max cards, playing at the top of the game, willing to, be Twitch streamers, be creators, and really, were willing to be ambassadors to the game on all this stuff. And now it's just like, well, I mean, I don't know. It's a constant drip into the game. That's what modern has become. It's a constant drip. Put a little more, put a little more, put a little more, put a little more, then you put a little more again. And if there's never a return on that, and I do know we're a TCG game, but we live in the crypto world. We're a crypto project. People don't get into most crypto projects expecting to lose money. That's not why we join these. I'm not going to say I'm here, because I'm expecting to have Splinterlands completely change my life and make me a multimillionaire. But I'm here because I thought I could play this game and my cards would kind of hold their value. And then when I left this game, I would kind of get close to what I put into it back. Because that's kind of how it was sold to us in my mind a long time ago. Play digital Magic, own your cards. When you leave, you'll sell your cards. They won't get ripped. They won't get lost. They won't get stolen. Your little brother won't use it as a coaster. It was a very good selling point in my mind. And it's just, in the past we never just had to buy so much extra, and the airdrops were a good fun moment. Now they're you're going to have to buy extra, and then there'll probably be 2 to 3 other cards that come out, and they'll be really good cards, and they'll be cool, but then you're going to have to buy those too, and so it's just a bit like, I don't know. I just don't see, and hopefully you have it, Dave. I just don't see how the small player comes in and starts to enjoy this. I don't see how that little guy
Because it's not about the money,
does.
man. I mean, it has been about the money, right? In other words, I would say
Okay, well
80,
then,
80%, 80% of the people that play our game do focus on the money, right? Like it's a very utility driven community. But having said that, that's not what the masses are. I mean, the masses like, gamers just like to compete, right? And then there's collectors that like to collect, and then there's investors that like to invest. But, we kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller over the years, and we lost all those people, and we're stuck with the utility people, which is why we've had the negative. So it ain't gonna switch unless we get new blood coming in. That's
yeah,
that's
but
the point.
if I guess this is a part I'm missing.
Okay.
I like the idea of a free play mode. I like the campaign mode, even though I haven't really played it yet, mostly because those cards aren't really necessary for somebody who has a full set of cards and is already playing in Champion.
Right.
But it's an interesting mode. It's a good idea. It's way better than the new player experience has ever been before. But if those players don't convert over and become paying players, how does it change SPS price? How does it help the economy? How does it make my rebellion set worth more? It's
All right.
not going to do any of those things if they're just free to play players playing the game. And I know maybe they want to convert, but my point is the conversion level here is high to get to that upper level of the game. It's really, really high, and it's not very, very rewarding at
Yeah,
this
because
point.
okay. I mean, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked. And if you don't mind me going over, I'm going to
No,
answer
there you go.
it. So, if we could all go find another Buctus, we would do it, right? And when I say we, the team before me, right? Like, sure, let's all go get another Buctus, right? Somebody who's going to just be a monster, 10 times bigger than the next guy, kind of thing. Like, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, that's not easy to do, right? Like it's a circumstance. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes the right place, right time. Sometimes it's who you know. You never know, right? Like Buck has actually tried to join my guild when he first came, and he messaged one of my players, and she didn't message him back. She was from the same country he was, and she didn't message him back, so he ended up going somewhere else in another guild. So I've regretted that missed message ever since, right? Because obviously, he's unbelievable. Now, having said that, there's a lot of we have the premium version down. Like we've actually built the business the wrong way by all the textbooks. Like we went out and we focus very hard on things like the gameplay. Is it interesting? Is it fun? Like that is still like when we put out a set. I mean, the things that go. We already got the next set. Some really cool stuff coming for the next set. So, I mean, just so you know, like those are the kind of things in our DNA. So the high end, it sells, right? Like people like it. People believe in crypto. They believe crypto's the right way to go, a decentralized game where you own your assets. And they believe that that we haven't been able to fully put it together. But one of the things that we have that other people don't have is the fact that we're not going to rug pull people, right? Like this is not going to happen. Like there's a lot of games out there that come and go, right? And they look flashy for a while and then they disappear, right? And now we've been out 7 years. We've started from scratch and we built it to what it is now. There's been a lot of mistakes in the way, but the one thing that they haven't done is just take people's money and leave, right? Like maybe people thought that was going to happen with land, but now you can see that, we're moving on land, right? We're going to be moving on boss monsters. We're going to be moving on to different things that we've said we were going to do. The company like may not have been able to get to it, but it was only because they didn't know how, as opposed to they'd had no intent, right? So that's a big plus. The problem is we don't have anybody at the low end, and that free to play is a gateway into that, right? So if we have 5,000 players, I'm just picking a number, right? So if we have 5,000 people in a regular ranked mode and we will it down to 3,000 players, right? Those 3,000 players now have to carry the load that 5,000 players did. So that's what you're feeling. Like when you're going through that, all that stuff that you said, the way you felt about it and the risk you were taking and all that, like the load of 5,000 people that used to be is now on 3,000 because we lost 2,000, right? We got to flip that around. And the way you flip that around is you got to build your funnel. And the funnel has got to be wide, right? Like I said, you just can't go pick a bucket. You got to go pick random people. Obviously, you have certain demographics, like you don't want to pick 3-year-olds, right? And you don't want to pick 98-year-olds, right? So you have demographics, but at the end of the day, you're just trying to get as many people as possible, like in your stable, right? And the more people you put in there, the more chance you've got to market to them. So whether you have, let's say you had 500 people, maybe 5 people have a potential to be a Steve, right? Maybe if you had 5,000 people, you have maybe one chance of somebody being a Brave, right? Like at the end of the day, like the higher you go up in the amount of money you spend, the harder it is out of that pool. So I don't want to focus on let's only get guys that are crypto related and only want to spend, $2,000 and let's have a narrow thing. No, I want to go out and get people to come play our game. It's a game. First of all, foremost, they're going to come in, they're going to come into a free to play mode. They can play, they can win cards like we did in the old days. They win cards, they keep them, they can sell them, they can trade them, they can build their deck. They can then, if they want, go to our premium game. And to do that, they're going to have to at least buy a spellbook. In addition to that, if they're like you, or Jangles, or Tails, or Baby, they're going to get hooked on the game. So therefore, you say, all right, well, what's the percentage of people that are going to get hooked on playing the game? I don't know, 10%, 20%, I mean, it's a number, right? Like whatever it is, it's not going to be zero and it's not going to be 100%. So we're going to figure out, like, they come in, they really like it. Like I got a scholar, for instance, he hasn't put any money in, but he's playing my deck and he's getting the SPS so he can build his own deck. So that's a free to play version, for instance, where he's come in, he's excited to play, but you say, well, why would we want a guy that doesn't have any money, right, to come in? Because he knows people, he has friends, he talks about the game. And again, you never know where you're going to make connections, right? So at the end of the day, you want to build a wide base. So I don't want to just bring in like 2,000 or 3,000 people. I want to bring in like 200,000 or 300,000 people. And if we get up there in a large number of people, now the opportunity to sell them, I might not know the exact number, but I know it's not zero. And I also know that we got a lot of people willing to pay a lot of money already. So there must be something good here, right? Like the concept would be like, why would somebody put $70,000 into your game, or 7,000 or 8,000 or whatever the number? And the reason is because it's a fun game. Again, it's you own your assets. You can see the things that we're doing. So at some point, all this has like a snowball effect, right? But in the beginning, you have to have enough people to speak to. And then that's when marketing comes in, like things like, today July 4th, right? We just had so for July 4th, buy a spell book and get a free starter pack, or there's all kinds of marketing opportunities that you can do. We're developing other things to give people other than SPS. If all we give people is SPS, then we can't scale. That's the point that a lot of people have missed. Like the whole funnel concept, a lot of people understand, but if the only reason to play our game is SPS, how could you ever give us a meaningful amount at the top if you had 400,000 people at the bottom, right? Like that was what we had in the old days. Like those guys at the bottom, people would say, well, I'm not getting much of anything. All those guys in bronze are taking everything, and it was a bad experience, right? So what they do, they took more and more of the rewards, and now the rewards go up to the top, and now there's like nothing left for anybody in bronze. So why would a guy come in and spend $50 to play the game, right? Unless it's purely to love the game, for the cards that he could collect, to potentially be better down the road and progress in the game. But that's not the only reason to play Splinterlands. I mean, we have collectors, we have investors, we have, like staking, for instance. I give this an example all the time. Like when you first come into Splinterlands, I wish we could just like say, hey, did you know you could make 15% staking your token? Like a certain percentage of people would say, holy cow, I can make 15% of my money. How do I do that? But we never kept them around long enough to really even be able to ask them a question. But if you asked 10,000 people that question, you're going to have a few people that are going to say, absolutely, yeah, I want to do that. How do I do that? Right. So the point is, we're going to go out and get a lot of people to play on the free to play, and then a certain percentage of those are going to migrate. That's basically what it boils down to. What are they going to get when they first come into play? They're going to get cards. They're going to be able to sell those cards. So literally they can come in and milk the system, right? They can come in, they can get a card that's worth whatever, a penny, and they can sell that card and make a penny. And there they go. For that day, they came in and they made a penny. Is that going to attract a lot of people? Probably not, but it will be better than getting nothing. And in addition to that, the other thing that we're going to be giving them is their own cards in the multiple variations. So those black foils, the arcane versions, all that stuff are all going to be winnable in that mode. So somebody like me who's a collector, I would want to go play that mode just to possibly win those cards. So you, Steve, is like, why would I play those cards? I got all the best cards. Like I got Lamborghini. Why do I want to go, drive a Ford, right? But in my case, like I'm a collector, so I'm gonna say, well, hell, I can get a Black Foil Arcane 101 version there. I'm gonna go play that mode. Having said that, we mitigated all the damage, or most of the damage that we could foresee. We're not perfect, so maybe we made a mistake, but I'm pretty sure we damaged, most of the issues that people are gonna have are gonna be mitigated. So when people come in, there's gonna be a feeling of, A, I can play this cool, really fun game. B, I can actually win something. C, I can trade with other people and get the cards I want. I forget what letter I'm on. D, I can go into ranked and actually build a deck that can at least compete instead of, having all level 1 cards that I got to try to go up against guys with, higher level cards. And then the last thing is you got a chance at like a jackpot type situation, right? You can get a card that's like a 101 right in there. I mean, there's reasons to want to play that mode. So if that fails, then then I'm probably fired. So I'm pretty confident it's going to succeed. I spent 12 minutes. That was way too long.
No, yeah,
Sorry.
I let you go. Sorry, I was chatting a little bit. Deuce is really coming after me. So is Woody. I will take back, guys. I'm not saying the top players are exploiting. If anyone thinks that's what I meant, it's not what I meant. And if I said that or if I inferred that to you, it's not what I mean. The point is that I'm trying to make when I say this is that the system is set up And exploit is the wrong word, so I'll say it in a way that's a little bit better, even though I don't know how many people will see this part. But the system is set up to and designed to reward you more for buying a few cards than buying a set. To give you more rewards if you buy a few cards than buy a set, a full max set. I could do I could honestly probably sell all my cards, and buy a few black foil cards and get a ton of airdrops, a lot more than my current 7,000 ish, of the new cards. And then, to be completely honest, when the airdrops are over, I could probably get back all of those cards for less money than they're worth today if things do what they normally do and the cards drop after the airdrops end. But then I have to do the same thing that I'm considered doing now, and it's not play the game, or play the game at an extreme disadvantage, missing a whole lot of the current set, and losing. I already lose games for when I don't have a Heloise all the time, so that would just add like another good set of cards that I would just lose when I don't have it. And I just think that this is incentivizing the wrong kind of thing. It's incentivizing less ownership of a full set, more ownership of rare assets, and I don't think that's good for a game. If you disagree, you can disagree. That's fine. But that's just how I feel. It's not saying, hey, come play Splinterlands, get a full set, stake your cards, stay competitive. It's saying, hey, come buy one gold foil legendary, black foil legendary card, or 3 or 4 black foil epics, or maybe instead buy a handful of the rares, whatever you need to equal that amount. Stake those 12, 13 cards, and get the same amount as a guy doing a full set of both releases, and then go double that, and now you got double his rewards, and he'll get even less. Maybe stake 40 cards total on 8 wagons, and pull down like 14 or 15 of these cards. And I don't think that's how conflict should be designed at bestly to make this game grow. That's what I'll say to you guys. Hope that's a little more level-headed. Maybe I got a little too animated at a few times, but I've been here a long time.
Are you referring to your audience, or are you referring to me when you're talking?
More to the audience.
Okay.
I mean, I hope you understand that that's how I feel that this system is. It's too heavily weighted to these cards, and because of that, it's incentivized these cards more than owning a full set. Like the top critic of me in the chat, Dave, he's literally saying, I don't have a full set of cards. I just have black foils. And he's getting 39 cards. And he thinks that's a good thing for the game, that he doesn't have a full set of the cards, and that he's getting a very and he's also pointing out he spent 4x than me, right? But he's not getting 4x my airdrop. He's getting almost 10x my airdrop. So you see how that just like, how would it's literally a guy just rubbing salt in the wound, right? I spent 4x your money, but I get 10x your rewards. I didn't buy a full set. I'm not staking as many cards. I have less wagons than you. It's like literally just like he's dancing on my corpse, right? He just, come on in, dance on my corpse. Tell me about how you made all the right decisions for you to get more, and I just decided to buy the cards to play the game.
Yeah. I mean, the point I would make about that, Steve, I mean, I've been around like you for a long time. And if you remember back, like there's been a lot of people that played the game different ways, right? And some people, for instance, in the beginning, I remember the Selenius guy, Gold Foil Legends, right? Like that was a thing that people were going for. And I mean, we've seen a lot of different people have a lot of different strategies. I'll give another one on land. Remember, they said that the summoners were going to have to summon the cards on land, and then summoners got a premium, and some people sold like everything and just put them all into summoners, and then it turned out not to be the case, and then they felt like they were screwed, right? And so my point is like whatever strategy somebody has, like it's a strategy. I don't really fault somebody for having a strategy, but I also don't think that their strategy is necessarily better than somebody else's. Like in my opinion, like my job is to try to make all everything go up and make it fun. Like I want you to be able to go in and say like my way of doing things is the best way. Like I want you to feel that way, right? And you're telling me it's not. So that's the point that I think I should take away from this, right? Like you should feel like, hey, the best play isn't to, you know, go buy a legendary, plot on land and put a Rooney and three gold foil legends with my money and do nothing else, right? And just rake in them. In other words, you want to play you like the way you play the game and you believe it should be appropriately rewarded is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's personalizing it a little bit more. I'm not even saying that his strategy shouldn't allow him to get more than me. He did invest more than me. But your example is not the reality we live in. He doesn't get 4 times my rewards. He gets 10 times my rewards for 4 times my investment. And I could also, in theory, do 4 times my investment, do it the way he did it, and then I would get 12 times the rewards or whatever because I already have a stack of cards, right? And maybe it's not completely accurate. Prices have changed and things like that. But that's where we're at. We're at a point where guys who it's not at all what you started with, that you buy 10%, you get 10%. It's that if you buy 10% and get lucky, you get 15%, or
Right.
you get 20%, maybe even if you get really lucky. And if I buy 7% and I get unlucky, and then you get lucky, I end up getting 4%. That's what this system is. And
Right. That's the
and
velocity. Yeah.
if everyone is happy with that, if they think that that's how our airdrop system should work, if that's the overall feeling of the community, that the big winners or the guys who just bought black foils should reap the biggest benefits of the airdrop system, then you did it, guys. Great job. I just don't think that that's the best way that this should be done.
I honestly, like I said, you guys, basically you and Tails combined on this one. I think that I will push for a change in the collection power, not the change in the collection power necessarily, because I think that's a different need, but the way they're calculated in the future so that it's not as, you know, drastic, right? Like you said, like, you know, it's like a 5% variance, for instance. I mean, a 50% variance, right? You go from 10 to 15, and the guy that was at 10 got 5. So really the difference between 5 to 15, for instance.
Yeah, yeah. And most of the examples, like this one, is the clearest I can give you. Deuce is literally telling me, you put in 7K, I put in 28K, you get 4, I get 39. And that's where the system breaks down, because he didn't get 16. That would be the normal thing. Or maybe, and in theory, if he wasn't getting 39, I'd probably be getting 6, 7, and then he'd be at 4 times 28. Still pretty good. I mean, I don't think he'd be super pissed if he went and checked his numbers and said, I'm getting 28 of the cards. But
Yeah, I mean,
but
you
then
just
but
gave
then I'd be getting 7. But they skew it more than that. They skew it so high that he gets 39 and I get 4.
right. Yeah, I get it. That's the that's the exact example right there. Like
Yeah.
it should be 7 and 28 based on the math, right? But it turns out to be 4 and 35, right? Because of
39.
or
It's almost
39
at
because
40. It's almost
right,
10x. It's
right,
almost. Get one more. Get one more, and then you got
right.
it.
Yeah, I get it. I
but
understand.
but yeah, and that skew of these black foil cards makes it so that all the guys that don't have them are big time losers. They're put in a position where they're not going to get very many airdrops. They're going to be constant buyers. And the worst thing about this, too, in being the buyer, it's like I'm forced to put in more money to the game, Dave, but I don't know if it's going to help the game because it's not going to you guys. It's
Right.
not going to SPS price. It's it's going to Deuce. It's going to Vutkiss. It's going to Brave. And, they're great guys in the community. Maybe that money gets reinvested. I don't know, though. I don't think any of them have publicly come out and said what they're going to do with their 40 cards, their 50 cards, their 100 cards. I don't know what you plan to do with your giant stack of cards. But I'm going to be out there, if I'm still here, looking to buy 8 of them. That money's going to go to those people. And I don't know that it's going to support my game. So that's where the frustration comes from a little bit, because I'd almost rather just buy them from Splinterlands, give you guys $300. At least then I know the team gets a win, or buy them in some kind of way where I know SPS will go up because I have a pretty big stake. It's not one of the mega stakes, but I have more than you need.
Right.
I'm coming up on 900K. I mean, I'm not a small stake. I'm just not one of the whales who went out and got millions of this coin. So, it's that kind of a situation for me.
Yep. I get it. Like I'm glad I showed up. I know a couple of people like said it was good that you had the call and that I showed up as well. And I'm glad I'm here because, I want to make sure I understood and I do. So I'm happy about that. So, but I still
Yeah,
think
yeah. Dahaz
the
again.
biggest
I'm
part of
not.
this is still my fault. So I'll still take that. Meaning,
I'm not even throwing shade on the fact that those guys are going to get a win, Dahaz. I'm not mad Brave Tofu's going to get a win. He deserves it. I'm not mad any of those guys are going to get a win. It's more of an anger they're getting such a massive win at the cost of basically the guys who didn't get lucky, or the guys who didn't decide to play this purely strategically and instead just wanted to be players of the game. We just wanted to get a max set. We wanted to get a max set as quick as we could so we could be players of the game, so we could compete at a high level, so we could earn a lot of gint, so we could make videos opening a lot of chests or flipping a lot of legendary cards, so that we could, do those types of things in the system and make some SPS. SPS isn't the most important thing right now because it's on a downtrend. It would be way more, that can vary, but it's that's just how I feel about this at this point.
yep, I get it. And by the way, I've been here 4 months and I got my own personal deadline by the end of the year. If there's not meaningful difference, then I'll wave the white flag and say I failed. But I
We don't
don't
want
give
to see that, Dave.
Say that again.
Yeah, I don't think we want to see you leave, Dave. You're the guy who actually showed up to hash this out with me, but and you understand the problem. And guys, I understand this problem isn't going to change. I don't think Deuce should all of a sudden be pushed down to 28, and I should be bumped up to 7. That's not going to solve a problem. He's not. That's just going to create a new group of super upset people. I just don't think. I really don't think. And in Tails, I love your idea of having some people to analyze the stuff you were going to do, because I don't know who designed this. I don't know whose end keys were on this whole thing, but to me it's not looked at what's the best way to attack it, because there is a way to attack it. Buy a few legendary or a few black foils, take a bulk amount of the cards, almost have no wagons. I mean, that's clear to see. And then at the same time, when those players decide to do that, it's going to take your players like me who said, hey, I go buy a max level set, and it's going to drop our rewards down to half to 40% of what we used to get. And so, those attack vectors are there. They might not be being used, but they're there.
Well, I can tell you the point about listening to you guys. I mean, that's a big deal. Like, we've learned how valuable the testing was that you guys did on the cards, right? And when we do a card and we get the feedback, it usually does well. And when we do a card we think is good without doing feedback, we generally find we miss something, right? So it's the same concept, but on bigger issues. So I do try to talk to a lot of people about stuff. Like I said, I'm going to take the hit for this because honestly, I just didn't realize that there was going to be this big of a gap in expectations, right? Like, had I realized that, like for me, like I said, I thought it was going to be 650, so it's 800. Is that the big deal? Not really, right? To me, right? But if I was thinking 200 and it was at 800, then that would seem like a shock. And I don't think that I did a very good job of anticipating that was what people were thinking. So there were people that were saying this is going to be, people are going to be salty and that kind of thing. And I didn't, like I said, it didn't resonate with me, and it's my fault. So number one, I'm going to do a better job of explaining it. Number two, I'm going to definitely take the feedback and the reason, the emotional aspect of it, and make sure we incorporate that, because I really don't want to be in a situation where, you know, you feel that way because of the dynamics of the way we structured it, right? So if we structure something that, it would be like why some people don't like lotteries at all, right? Like, some people, like, I know, just never want to do a lottery. Why? Because they feel bad when they lose, right? You go put $20, buy a scratch off and don't win. You, like, your heart sinks, your stomach hurts, and and I say $20, but I mean, there are people that go to Vegas and take 10 grand and blow it, and then they feel like really crappy about themselves afterwards. And even though they had a chance, the same chance that anybody else had, it still doesn't feel good because of the setup. And so I get that, your points, y'all's points, I guess I should say, I get and I understand. So I will be able to fix, I believe, the way in which the wagons work, meaning the original intent was if a wagon got killed, you had to replace it, or if you got a card, you had to replace a wagon. We literally did change it with good intentions, but I can see, based on, like, literally Ghostly pointed it out to me, and then right afterwards I went and asked the devs to run a calculation on it, and sure as shit, there was about 8 or 10 people that had very few wagons and pretty good guaranteed airdrop. So that wasn't the intention. So all right.
I think we should let this wrap up, because I know it's getting really late while you are. Sorry, us West Coasters sometimes are like, I can keep talking for a while because it's only 10:30. Tails and Baby, I'm sorry we dominated this so much.
No, it's
did you
okay.
wanna
I mean,
make
it was
any last
interesting.
points or talk about anything before we get out of here?
It was interesting, and no, maybe next week we'll talk more about other stuff. This was important, so I'm glad that you guys had the chance to talk it out, and I'm sure the communities, or at least the people that are listening to the video, uh, to our show, at least they got some good insight of what the problem is and what possible solutions might be. But yeah, I mean, uh, next time maybe I'll have chance to talk more, so it's okay.
Did we lose Tails?
No, I'm here. I appreciate the conversation. I think it was good to have the conversation. And again, Dave, thank you for taking the time and being a dedicated, not just a COO, but just a dedicated member of the community. So appreciate you.
Well, thank you. And if it makes you feel any better, Steve, I hate that you feel this way. Just so you know, like
Yeah, yeah,
it
and you
bothers
know,
me.
I'll just echo, guys. It's not just me. I went and talked to some of the guys in my pre-sale group. I talked to in tavern today for multiple hours. I did a poll. It's only a small poll, but you know, 10 people came through and said they don't like this. And so, you know, in airdrop, as to Dale's point, it should be a reason for the whole community to celebrate, not a reason for us to fight each other. And it's become a reason to fight each other a little bit. You know, it's literally become that reason why, that guy got a black foil. That just means I get less airdrops because it's going to get staked and his number's going to go way up. My CP is going to stay the same and I'm going to get less. And you know, I know that's a little bit of a me thinking, but I am a me and I care about me. So that's just what is it's starting to turn into at this point. And it's only because that card doesn't make a little bit of difference. That one card that pops up on the screen might be worth half of my deck. It's not like he got a little bump.
I have to go, guys. I'll talk to you, Steve, later.
You
Yeah,
gotta be
baby.
good. But yeah, I'll let it go here. At least for anybody that wants to leave, I might stay on and talk to the chat a little bit and let them
Okay,
attack me.
bye from me now.
Bye, baby.
See you, baby.
Bye.
Yeah,
Hey, Dave, do you want to say anything to him before you go? Go right ahead.
say that again.
Oh, I just said if you want to say anything to the crowd before you go right ahead.
I mean, I appreciate number one. It is 1:30 my time, but I know there's some East Coasters there, and plus everywhere else around the world. I'm
Yeah.
really happy that we have a community as deep as it is. I think it's a massive strength. I know we fight a lot. I know people get frustrated, and the one thing I've learned in life is, there's a fine line between love and hate, and usually people that get upset are usually upset because they're just frustrated and they want it to succeed and they just don't feel it's happening. So that makes them upset. So I'm going to do my best to try to fix that and, continue to pay attention and see what we can do. And, like I said, I've been here 4 months. I believe you're going to see some pretty cool things coming up. It's not particularly what I would have wanted to talk about here for the week before the launch of something that I think is going to be a big deal. But having said that, it's our fault, right? Or my fault, because at the end of the day, like you feel how you feel. Like we created the conditions that made that happen. So, I'm just happy that everybody's here and we'll keep trying to do better. I mean, that's the one thing I've learned is you can't avoid mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but you can control how you deal with them. So that's basically my philosophy. So if I make a mistake, I'm going to try to make it right. So that's where we're at. And I appreciate the forum that you gave, to talk about it, Steve, and Tails for you contributing as well. Like, I'm happy that you guys kind of spoke for, what other people were thinking, and hopefully we get you some eyeballs and, other people can have some things answered as a result.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dave, for being here.
All right. See you guys. Thank you. Enjoy your evening or day or where you're from. And thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no
See
problem,
you
Dave.
guys.
Anytime. I'm sure when the new stuff comes out, we'll invite you back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. All right. See you. Just hit the X button here.
Yep. It should
Okay.
drop you right out once you're ready. Oh, and Tails took off too.
Okay.
I
All right,
guess
man.
he had some mic issues on his last comment, so I guess he didn't want to make any last one for you guys. So you'll be stuck with just me or me, but maybe just for a few minutes. I just want to give them a chance to ask me any questions they want. So, but you're still here so far, Dave. There he is. He's gone. All right, guys. Did I make you all really mad? I'm sorry. if you are mad. And yeah, I got pretty upset a couple times. Sorry about that. I'm a little better now. Dave is the optimist, though. I was like, we're not at 15%, are we? No, we're at 10.98. but then I saw the comment about how, yeah, it's hard to brag about this APR when this doesn't go up in price or even stay the same, right? Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks for letting people know I should just be able to vent on my stream. And I think at least I got that point across to Dave. These things are too powerful, and I'm not the only person that thinks these. Like, I called out Bojangles. I don't know if he's around at all anymore, but when they were talking about how powerful these two cards could be in conflicts, they literally said there's no way the team would allow it. You know, that conversation is literally why I didn't go buy them. I was positive they would change it. Well, Gathering, I might not. I still don't. And this is the thing, guys, is the wrong move to think about. I mean, where is it here? I got too many tabs open. This one. It is the wrong move to sell these cards for 14,000 and then stake most of that into land, activate my last plots. And stuff. I mean, I don't, I know a lot of people said I was way off, or a lot of people were coming after me here for most of this, but I think that Dave agrees with me that they gave too much power to these in the thing. And he totally agreed to the point made by Ghostly here, and this is one I hadn't even fully got into, but that allowing people to get a card without it destroying a wagon was an extremely unfair thing to do. So at least they plan to change that immediately. Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering because, like, I need more DEC for land, right? I only got like 100K. I basically, instead of maxing out land, I put a whole bunch more money into the set. I can still play the game in Wild and earn some SPS in Glint. I can make a lot more stone because that's basically what my land can do. Right? I can play land. And I can go to production and I can show you guys. This is why I'm thinking about just not trying to compete in Modern anymore. And I think now is the right time to do it if this is my decision. Right? Because I still have not constructed. You know, they're mostly common. I do have a few like swamps and these that I just haven't constructed yet because I don't have the DEC to do it. Oh, well, I'm not going to sell them for half price, Woody. I'm not that desperate. I think I have some time. If I started selling them in the market, they'd go cheaper than that. I mean, they'd go for more than that. I don't expect to get what the list price is, though, right? Let's see. What would be fair for my Modern collection? My Modern collection at market prices is $14,296. At list prices, it's $14,200. I'm not giving it to you for half, Woody. and yeah, Plato's the king of my region. That's why he's saying that, guys. So, you know, I could use that money because, like, basically what I need to do to my land, and this is why I don't like that all of a sudden the airdrops are demanding all my new money, right? I wanted to bring my money into the game and go work on my land, but now if I want to keep playing Modern, I have to put them into airdrops. Alex, that's 2 sets of cards. It's all of Modern. Here, I'll go back to it. Peak Monsters. He had me go into... Here, let me go back to bulk so you can see this is all of Modern. is worth 14K. If I go to, I could change it, right? I could just do Conclave. My Conclave collection is actually only worth 4K, so I'm doing 4.7. I'm doing pretty bad on that. The reason why my Rebellion is worth so much more, worth 9,000, and this is the point I'm getting at here, right? The reason why I'm thinking about doing this, and maybe I should just liquidate these cards, right? Because this is the next set that's going to be removed from the set. If I go and I look at Legendary, and then, sorry, I don't play with this enough. Where is the thing where I say I want to look at the summoners instead of the cards? Oh, I'll just go for, let me move my head out of the way. I could also make myself a little bit smaller. Well, yeah, like here's a Kane, right? That's like these summoners, a Kane, Elias, they're all running at pretty good value right now. But when the new legendary airdrops come out for the set, these are probably going to go down, right? So, you know, maybe the compromise is I just sell Rebellion before the cards that are going to diminish the value of the Rebellion cards come out. Yeah, Deuce, and that I've been saving my SPS. This is why I have 6,000 liquid. Oops, I'm on the wrong site here. Because I don't reinvest this into my stake anymore, mostly because my stake doesn't need to be bigger. I mean, maybe some people think I should be a 2 million or 5 million stake, but I'll be a million relatively soon with how much I earn. And once I have a million of these, if Splinterlands makes it or not, I think if it makes it great, I should come out okay. Yeah. I mean, looking at the current value of my cards, I think the new play I might do, and maybe some people will embrace this one better because it's just making a move, right? Wait, what is going on here? Did the prices on everything just drop because I said I was going to sell? Wasn't that 9,000 a moment ago? Oh, no, it's because I'm clicking on legendaries. There we go. I was like, what did I do? Yeah. I mean, I think maybe, and this might just be a smart move to make, is I sell my Rebellion cards, try to get about $9,000 for them. It says they're worth 9,700. Maybe try to get 8.5 for them. Something like that. I just get rid of all this stuff because it's going to be the stuff that in theory is going to be the first to go down in value. Given I don't know if anyone will buy my Nomos. Maybe he's a little bit better than he used to be, right? And then I'd have $8,000, so I could go stake, 2,000 or 3,000 on land. Go buy a couple black foil cards for Conclave, and I mean I can replace the CP these guys are giving me on wagons with a couple cards. Yeah, but I mean Splinterlands to date, and maybe Dave will change this. I mean, we know how this works, right? I mean, we've seen this story with Rift Watchers and Chaos Legion, right? When they move out of Modern, the prices just get demolished. We've also seen that when the new legendary summoners come out, the old legendary summoners go down in value. And so maybe that's the play I should be looking to doing a little sooner. It's probably the play I will end up making for sure is selling off this set. And then I'll see what I want to do. Yeah, DeFizz, we definitely had some guys with some bigger stakes here who were really defending the way the system is. And I understand that the system can't change, right? Because they made decisions. They made financial decisions. I mean, I don't know that it's unprecedented for us to do that, but I don't really want to spawn that. This is why I was getting a little hate for not offering solutions. Guys, I wasn't expecting anything to change. I was just telling them what I was going to do. It wasn't going to be such a vent session, but Dave showed up. He wanted to be here, so I vented. And Jimmy had it exactly right. The big problem is that the rewards are low, and they keep asking us for more. And I know Dave didn't make the CP decisions, but I think he's understanding that they're broken, because the point he was trying to make is that if somebody puts in 10x my investment, they should get 10x my cards. But the problem is when you put in 10x my investment, it's almost guaranteeing that you're going to hit a couple of those big cards, because if you buy 70,000 worth of packs and you don't get them, the only way that would happen is if your name is Steve. So they're going to have some of those really good cards, and they're not going to end up with 10x. In our perfect example, Deuce, and help you. Thank you, because I think you are the one that helped me prove to him that the system is bad. And you made the better choices. You're absolutely right. But the system is bad because you didn't, your moves were 4x my spend and almost 10x my rewards. And also, Deuce, I don't do this as more, but to call me out, like not saying I like to play the game or do the community. I mean, I've given away so much stuff to this community over the years. I've streamed about this game for a lot longer than some of the other streamers. I know I'm not the best one. I'm not the most consistent one. I've been really inconsistent recently. It's because my dishwasher flooded my house, and I've been fighting with insurance to try to get them to pay to fix that. So that is why we missed a couple streams. I've been picked up as an ambassador for other projects. They give me more. I talk about them a bit more because I get more. And I still talk about this game, so. Yeah, but the point, I think you didn't see. My point is I tried to just be a player of the game. If that's what I tried to do, Deuce, why wouldn't you think it meant I enjoy playing it? I guess I should have made it more clear. I'm sorry. No, this is the point, though. I made the decision to play the game at the highest level I could, buy all the cards that I needed to do that, prioritize getting those cards to a high level. The only reason I haven't pushed a few of the cards to the max level yet is really because the legendary summoners from the old set are still so dominant. I'm not losing to the new normal summoners with those summoners enough yet for it to force me to go and buy those summoners. So I plan to just buy more packs and open the last few of those summoners that I needed. The only reason I don't have more money in the game already is because the EMP project I was on shut down their bridge. I had $900 more in Pulse Chain that I was going to move over into this game. But their bridge shut down, and I can't find another good bridge on Pulse to move it to BSC so I can invest it into the game. I could move it to Ethereum, but then it's going to be on Ethereum, and it's going to take like a few days to get there, and then the 900 is going to turn into like 880, and then when I can't buy DEC on Ethereum anymore, so I'm going to have to move it somewhere else. I guess I can move it to base. That wouldn't cost maybe that much. But But I was just waiting for that bridge to come back. Yeah. So since those cards are so strong, I hadn't quite made the final push into the new set. But man, these airdrop numbers just hit me hard. I was like, wait, what? I get 4 cards. That means I'm gonna have to buy 7. And I'm not lucky, Deuce, so I never think my 4 is gonna give me a black foil. I never think I'm going to get a lot. The luckiest I got was one time I was supposed to get 7 and I got 13. That was pretty lucky. I'll admit that. I got lucky on 1 conflict. So, yeah, the elf that lowers magic, it hasn't beat me yet when I've played. So I didn't max it yet. The only card of the new summoners that beats me when I play, and I haven't been playing that much because when your house is half flooded and your whole living room is in your garage and the world is not roses yet because you haven't got approved for them to fix it, you don't play that much. So maybe I've mixed it. But is the fire one, the dwarf with the void for the team, that guy has showed up and kicked my butt a few times. But I'm going to sleep on everything. I'll make my decisions in a few days. I still think it might be a good time to go ahead and sell Elias, go ahead and sell Tofu, go ahead and get rid of my Max Grimbardoon, my Max Manaroth, sell some of those really nice cards that are really productive in the game, and just do my best to learn how to beat those cards. Oh, I can even sell I forgot that Moxie and Rebel is an old card. An oldish card. So that's another one that I'd probably liquidate. I don't know, maybe I'd keep him. He's pretty important. We don't really have another good magic guy to share the damage. Woody, I don't like talking about alchemy packs. It's not like I haven't opened any. I opened 30 of them. Didn't get any black foils. Now I know in theory you need to open up 60 of them, but Woody, did you look at my current DEC? I cannot afford 60 alchemy packs to theoretically get one for sure. Oh wait, you sent me a pack? Oh. Well, that was extremely nice, Woody. All right. Well, since you sent it to me, I'll open it. We should do the triangle thing. All my potions are on, right? Yeah, I have 107 black foils, so I have everything I need to give myself the best luck. Oh, I need 40. I thought it was 1 in 60. You're right. Oh, Woody. Okay. Discard. Well, thanks. I got me another one of those guys. If my alchemy luck stays the same, guys, this is going to be a gold foil common, and that's all I'm going to get from this pack. Just letting you know. Oh, I got an epic card. So if that one turns gold, that would be kind of cool. Oh, it turned gold. It's not a black foil, but that's still pretty lucky. So, I'll take it as this was pretty cool, Woody. Thank you. Oh, we got a little, this guy. He's actually not a bad card. He has a really good card. Actually, these are all relatively decent cards. Let's see what this one is. Now, this one's normally guaranteed gold, right? Even though I got one here. Oh, it's a golden Fae. And I have a black foil Fae, so I guess that's a card to sell. I don't think gold foils are going like they used to because of black foils. But yeah, that would be one to liquidate. But thanks, Woody. That was really cool of you. That was really nice. So send me an alchemy pack. I mean, the lucky long shot gold foil. Let's go see if I'm wrong. I feel like black foil has tarnished the gold foil prices here, right? I still have my filthy scavengers because I like this card, and I just didn't think he was. I don't think that his current value justifies how good this card is. This $85. I think that's not enough, so I kept it. Let's take it off legendary and just go to gold. I got a little collection here. Ooh, now I got two. Now I got one lucky long shot. This one still 1480. That's not bad. That's enough to get the pack back, right? Yeah, that's slightly ahead, right? And then the other gold foil was Faye. I got two of these ones. 90 cents. Yeah, see? Gold foil commons are only 90 cents. And the funny thing is that the collection power of these, like in the past, I might have been a buyer of these at 90 cents. But the problem is these... Oh, wait, market. I wish it would go back to the market page. These guys, right? Because this card is just worth so much more than a max gold foil legendary. Ooh, a pickle's only $218, huh? Or thought pickle might be a little more, but I guess people probably got a... Is there a decent amount of these pickles? 108? Yeah, it's a decent amount. How's that compare? 32 of him, 113. Oh, so pickle's still a little bit lower. Yeah. I mean, because here's what I could do, right? I mean, look, it's a funny example of like what the system is saying Steve should do right now, guys. And this is theoretically what so this I'm gonna close BJ's post because I keep clicking on these on accident, right? So my rebellion cards are worth about $9 grand. Let's say I can get $8 grand for them, right? That's selling them at like a 15% discount or so, maybe a little bit less than that. So I can pick up $8 grand, right? And then I can come to the market, and I've sold my entire rebellion set at this point, right? What's the CP on this? 414,000, right? And I get half that, so 214,000 is CP is what I need to go get, right? And I can sell $10,000 worth of cards that are currently getting me 14,000 CP value, and then I can go to the market. Let's see. Black foil epic. I can pick up this guy right up here for $710. That will be... Does it say his CP on here? Okay, that's 131 of it. So we needed about 207. There's 7, given, I'll admit that might not be an option in reality. I don't have any other kind of filters on, right? I don't know why he's so cheap. I think someone's going to go buy him from me showing you this. Okay, but I could buy him. That's 131, so I need about 70 more. I keep on doing that, guys. I'm so bad. Okay. I wouldn't buy this one though, right? Because he's like extremely more expensive than him. So let's look at the rares. Okay, we'll just go bottom of the barrel because all I'm looking for is CP at this point. So I'll pick this. I'll pick up one of her for 312. That's 50,000. Right? Oh my God, I am the worst. I'm getting a little tired, guys. It's 11 now. Okay, and then I could pick up two of these. Right? That's 100,000, and that one epic card I could spend, and I don't know how to click on buttons, but I can spend $1,600 of that 8,000 deuce, and I can match my current airdrop value. I do get it. It would have been better to do 2 to 3 weeks ago, but that's when my house got flooded, deuce. So I wasn't paying attention. It's bad. It's been bad 2-3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, so I could sell my cards for 8,000, and I could maybe invest. If Woody's right, if I could get like 3 or 4 black foil epics, I mean, it would take some luck, right? Because there's only one on the market right now in that range. But if I could pick up like 3 of these for 2,000 of that 8,000, then I could have more airdrops and $6,000 in my pocket. But, you know, these are kind of the things I'm going to look at over the next couple of days because it feels like I should do something. Because basically, what the system has told me is that owning a max set of both is shit. It's not good. Shouldn't do it. Don't do it, guys. Don't get max sets of both. Be like Deuce and buy specific black foils that are meta and needed for the game. Because that's the way to play this. And I missed it. I didn't know about it again. Yeah, Woody, I would have a weak playing deck. It would be a little frustrating playing the game. But apparently that's the right way to do it. And maybe I'll hold back just tofu. Right? I'll sell everything but tofu. How much would that lose me of my money? We'll go unepic, unblack foil. We'll go legendary, rebellion. And then... Oh, and I'm not saying the word Archon. I'm a bad streamer. So if I keep my tofu, I lose 500 of that money. So I could keep him and sell the rest of them, you know. But I've got to run, guys. I just wanted to hang out a little bit more to talk to all of you for being so loyal. It's been a blast talking with them, venting, and deciding what I would do. So